U.S. Marshals Service searching for a man wanted for murder. Here's WSMV4's Tracy Cornett.
38-year-old Jesse Wayne Phillips is on TBI's most wanted list. He faces charges in the death of Chris Yates. Phillips allegedly shot Yates during an argument. It happened May 27th on Parker Road in Palomal, which is in Ventress County.
Now, Phillips' truck was later found abandoned in Clinton County, Kentucky. There's a $5,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. You can see a photo of him on my X account. Check it out at Joan Jones WTN. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Major market indexes dropped today due in part to inflation fueled by the ongoing war in Iran. Consumer prices higher than they've been in 3 years. The Dow losing 953 points. The S&P off more than 119. The Nasdaq dropping 509 points. Bill Gates says he never should have met with Jeffrey Epstein. The Microsoft founder on Capitol Hill telling lawmakers about his relationship with the late disgraced financier. Gates says he never had a sign Epstein was committing crimes. SpaceX says it wants smaller mom-and-pop investors to take part in its stock launch. Elon Musk's company directing some of its initial public offering directly to them in what may be the biggest IPO in history. Robots trying to learn tasks like grasping a cup will get lessons from a human wearing an ultrasound wristband that captures movement of muscles, tendons, and ligaments. MIT researchers hope the tool will help robots gain dexterity. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
And right now, stock futures are pointing up, thank goodness, after yesterday's huge losses. Dow futures are up 394, the NASDAQ futures plus 327. S&P futures, they're up 56 points. That's the latest news. Stick around. We've got your traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Looking good on 24 this morning. 40 looks okay as well. And 65, no delays in either direction heading into Nashville. Hey, it's Bonnaroo Day. Isn't that great? So on 24, exit 111 is reserved, especially for the attendees of Bonnaroo. You're going to find it jammed up and a mess this morning. So you'll want to use some different alternative exits on I-24 as you're approaching the Manchester area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into a Thursday, June 11th of 2026. So, headline from CNN is a peace deal dead. I think it is. We'll talk about, of course, everything going on with Iran and President Trump. That is coming up. We've got a lot on the show today. I do want to start out, though, Joan, with this.
What's that?
So, because we were talking about this before the show, and it is this woman outside of Karmelo Anthony, the trial. We've been talking about the idiocy of people outside of the trial. People are just saying the dumbest things, the absolute dumbest things. Jasmine Crockett, we'll get to some of her audio as well, but there's this woman here. The entire internet, Joan, the entire internet is united in giving this woman basically one answer. Need some audio if I could. This is outside of the Karmelo Anthony trial.
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for words. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin. Let me ask you this right now. I hear.
What do you want?
So the funny thing is, she says, "What do I tell my boys? What do I tell my 5 boys?" Do you know, Joan, that every person literally on the internet in the world has responded with, "Tell your boys not to
kill people.
Not to kill people.
Yeah.
Not to plunge a knife in the heart of other people."
Well, duh.
Isn't that? But see, Joan.
Yeah.
For us, that is obvious.
Yeah.
But for people who, I don't know, what do you say about a person like this? Like, I don't like to use the term retarded, right? I am on record as saying I don't like that term. But I don't know how else to describe this kind of idiocy. What do I tell my boys? And everybody in the world says, don't murder other people, and they should be fine. But see, I think it's this kind of mentality where you end up getting the likes of Karmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, her 5 boys are going to end up just like Karmelo Anthony with that kind of an attitude. Because nobody wants to accept any accountability.
Yeah.
What do I tell my 5 boys? Are you dumb? And the guy who is doing the interview, I don't know who that is, whatever, but he didn't even have the presence of mind to say, well, why don't you tell them not to kill people?
I think that guy was from News Nation, and I think he wanted to walk out of there alive.
It was a pretty hostile situation.
Yeah. Now, the question she should be asking is, what should my 3 baby daddies tell my 5 children? Because there's been people pointing out there's a lot of angry women around this situation, but the strong men are nowhere to be found.
Well, there's some men there. They are there. But to your point, how many of these folks that are involved in this kind of a situation have fathers in the home? I have talked about absent fathers for years. I've been talking about absent fathers, particularly in the black community. Because you don't have a strong father in the home. So people like Karmelo Anthony, who, by the way, I believe he does have a father. So just because you have a father in the home doesn't necessarily mean that the proper fathering is going on. Because a proper father will tell you the proper way to behave, and Karmelo Anthony clearly does not understand the proper way to behave. And again, I can guarantee you that this dip crap woman, she has no idea how to teach her children the proper way to behave as well. So when, her 5 kids are in jail and doing abhorrent things, doing horrible things, and she's going to be out there screaming, my baby, my baby. Well, sorry, but you didn't teach your baby the proper way to behave. Because you're out there screaming, what do I tell my kids? Do you know, and I'm going to bore you people with the story yet again. Every time when my kids were younger, every time there was a story, I bet you were like this too, Joan, where there is a news story that I could turn into a teachable moment for my kids, we would talk about it.
Yeah.
If my kids were young, I would probably pull this video out and I would tell them exactly what happened and where Karmelo Anthony went wrong and where this woman is wrong. Because parents do have a responsibility. Austin Metcalf was killed by Karmelo Anthony. Then you start going down the road of, okay, well, what did his mother and father teach him? I mean, obviously, Karmelo Anthony, he is responsible for his own actions. But the parents have to share in some of that responsibility because they raised an animal. They raised a provoking animal. And now...
And how did they not know that with him living within the walls of their home?
Well, Joan, it's what we talked about yesterday, where he's got Instagram photos. It was either Instagram or TikTok where he's holding a gun and doing gang signs. And there was another one where I think he was smoking a bong or something and flipping off the camera. Yeah. So, I mean, clearly, what parent would look at that and say, oh, I'm proud of my son?
Well, they're not looking at it. I mean,
no, that's exactly the point, Joan.
When our kids were young, they were told, that phone belongs to me. That's my phone. I pay for it. I pay the service that provides the pictures and the text that you get to display on that phone. I pay for it. It's my phone. Mm-hmm. Every night, hand the phone to me, and I would check out their accounts. I would check out what's on their phone. And then I'd hand it back to them. And they knew that the searches were coming. It didn't have to be at night. It could be any time. So, and it's not that I didn't trust them. They knew that I trusted them, but this was helping them to be accountable.
Yeah, thanks, Joan. I have PTSD from hearing that.
I mean, it's not that difficult.
No,
it's being a parent.
My mom was the same way, and especially when it came to driving, right? You get to 16, 17, you get your license. My parents got me a little putt-putt car. It's what we called it. And, if I so much as failed to turn in an assignment, give me the keys, my car, I pay the insurance on it, which is astronomical for a teenager. And that's holding your child accountable and giving them goals to work towards. You want to go out on the weekend? Turn in a solid week at school.
Do you know what I'm curious about? And Sam, you're the man for the job. So that photo I wish I had the photo on me, but there was a photo, I showed it yesterday on the show, where Karmelo Anthony is holding the gun. I want to know how much that gun is. How much did that gun cost? I'd be willing to bet who knows if it's used. I have no idea anything about the gun. But how does a
authentic AK-47 between $800 and $1,200?
$800 and $1,200?
Yeah. Now, here's the thing: is that it's a grainy photo.
Right.
And there's a lot of models out there where they'll take a 22 caliber rifle and give it an AK-47 body. A true AK-47, shoots a higher caliber round than that. Mm-hmm. But still, I hung out with people that had guns as a teenager, and we did things responsibly. We had parental supervision. We weren't posing with them trying to look thuggish.
Yeah, you weren't given gang signs and the whole thing.
No.
You want to hear, so do you know who else is the village idiot in all this? There's so many village idiots, right? Jasmine Crockett is another one.
Oh, my gosh.
So there's a number of things I have not yet found. And Sam, if you can, as we're doing traffic, where she's talking about how the knife apparently was too small to be a murder weapon. I guess I have not heard this one. I think it was Joan or Sam. Somebody was telling me this before the show. I've not seen that. But Jasmine Crockett, village idiot, and she is out there just proving it every single day. 5:15, time to check the roads on WTN.
No delays at this point on 4024 or on 65. Looking really good so far this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Sunny this morning, cloudy this afternoon, high of 95. Heat index is going to be 103 degrees, which means, do you know what the great thing is, Joan, about my vacation? I'm going to Florida to escape the humidity of Tennessee.
Well, good for you, Dan.
Did anyone else walking into the building this morning feel like you were on the beach with that warm, when you get up down in Florida at like 5 or 6 in the morning, there's just this warm that just blows right into your face?
Yeah.
4 a.m. here, that's what it feels like.
That's what it was like walking outside. Anyway, so Jasmine Crockett is out there now, and there's a number of different quotes and a number of different now viral videos of her speaking about the Karmelo Anthony thing. Do you think that Jasmine Crockett is one of those any publicity is good publicity?
Oh, absolutely.
So even
You're
if it's
talking about her,
even if it's something where she is clearly saying something, I don't even want to say inflammatory, just stupid. Because a lot of the things that she says, let's be honest, a lot of the things that she says are really dumb. There's inflammatory, and then there's dumb. We'll talk about both. So this is Jasmine Crockett. This was yesterday in the halls of the House of Representatives.
35 years for a kid who had decided to go under a tent that was not his team's tent as it was raining, and simply didn't want to be put out in the rain by some random kid that he didn't know who was larger than him. Listen, a lot of people don't know what it is to live as a black person in this country, but just like you can give the benefit of the doubt to so many police officers when they go out and they shoot some black unarmed person, even though they are trained, the fact that there was little to no mercy seen or humanity seen when this black boy said that I was scared.
Right. So can I ask what humanity or mercy Karmelo Anthony showed Austin Metcalf? That's number one. And number two, she's talking about how police officers shoot innocent, unarmed black men. You were telling me something that happened earlier before the show, Sam. You were telling me about a sheriff's officer, deputy, whatever, that was shot by a couple of guys that were pulled over. I think 2 or 3 guys. And Sam's pulling it up now. There is a story out there today where a deputy pulled over a car for whatever reason. Deputy walks up, and the 2 guys in the car, you said there were 2 black guys, shot the sheriff's deputy.
Yeah, it was down in Covington County, Mississippi. They were arrested yesterday and arraigned. Cortavian Hobbs and Cortavius Hobbs, real creative, 19 and 18, by the way, were in Covington County Justice Court, where they're both charged with 2 counts of attempted capital murder and hindering prosecution. They shot this sheriff's deputy, Yates Rodney, 10 to 12 times, striking him under his bulletproof vest, in between the shoulder blade, and could have struck his spine. He's stable but in serious condition. It was a 10-hour manhunt to track these boys down. And the thing that's connected to this is their brother is currently sitting in prison, their older brother sitting in prison for capital murder. So no one wants to talk about this cultural issue of young black youth and the violence. Right. You look at the teen takeovers, they're not flooded with white kids or even Hispanics. It is a predominantly one demographic, and the part of the black community doesn't want to address it. It's like they're scared to.
And here's the thing, is that black folks like Jasmine Crockett and all those people outside of the courtroom, all they talk about is race. Yeah. So one of the things as you know, white people talk about what's going on is, okay, look, and I've said this forever, is that, because, you know, there's some people that'll say, oh, what you folks are saying are racist. It's like, well, it's really not. But if that side, if the Karmelo side and the Democrats and people like Jasmine Crockett, if all they ever talk about is race, well, then why can't we? If they're introducing the topic on a daily basis, well, then we've got to be able to respond in kind. I mean, I just think that that's only fair. And by the way, we have been having this conversation for a long time. The accusation of being a racist, I've been dealing with those for years and years and years. And one of the things that I've noticed is, if you want to have honest conversations about what is going on in our society, then you've got to accept the slings and arrows of people calling you a racist, because here I am trying to draw attention to the problems that we have in society today. And if by doing so you are called a racist, okay, then I'm going to be called a racist. But bottom line is, they're calling Donald Trump a racist because he has been sending in law enforcement into places like Memphis and Washington, D.C. to literally save black lives, and he is called a racist. So
listen, Dan,
you can't win for losing.
If you got a pool in your backyard, you're a racist. If you do math well, you're a racist. If you speak English language like an English language speaking person, you're a racist.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can't do that you're not a racist for now.
Well, listen, I'm a racist just because I'm white.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Because let's be honest, I don't speak English real well. Hence the reading all of the Peanuts books soundbite that dropped yesterday during your 9 o'clock newscast, Joan.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
You have to enunciate.
This is Jasmine Crockett talking about the knife. Hey, will you look up for me, if you could, Sam, how big was the knife that killed Austin Metcalf?
3.5-inch blade.
3.5-inch blade. So this is Jasmine Crockett on some sort of a podcast talking about the size of the blade.
Awful. Wait a minute. Was it a switch? I don't know what he had. It was like
So Jasmine Crockett talking out her arse, where she doesn't even know the facts of the case, and yet she's questioning the knife that has been proven to have killed Austin Metcalf. Why is she? Can I ask this question? Let me play it.
Awful. Wait a minute. Was it a switch? I don't know what he had. It was like it seemed like it was a multi-tool, almost like a Swiss Army. Like with the little scissors and everything and whatever. So it was small.
She got this who farted in the elevator look on her face, like the knife actually didn't kill Austin Metcalf. Note or memo to Jasmine Crockett, if you could actually read it. Nobody's disputing the knife.
Well, I would argue the size of it alone, you wouldn't even think it's a deadly weapon. And
I forgot he had the bag.
If it was one of the little, like I don't know, like I do think. Well, that's why he went to his coach and was like, but I don't think I hurt him that bad.
Well, okay, whatever. Jasmine Crockett. Ooh, boy.
Here's the other thing. It doesn't matter. Even if this was a smaller blade.
It killed Austin Metcalf.
The anatomical distance to the heart in the thoracic region, the distance from the skin surface to the anterior, meaning the outside wall of the heart, typically ranges between 2 and 5 centimeters or 0.8 to 2 inches.
Yeah, so if it's a 3-inch blade, it goes right into the heart.
Yeah.
And they showed Austin's heart in the proceedings.
Mm-hmm. And it also, was severed.
Imagine how forcefully he had to put that blade into his chest to get through the sternum bone.
That's a great point, Joan.
And then into the heart. I mean, he had to thrust it with so much pressure to break the bone to get to his heart.
And now he is appealing.
Yeah.
And the appeal. So
of course he is. I mean, of course.
Yeah. And Sam, you said the appeal is based on what?
They're calling racism. They're saying that because there weren't any black people on the jury, this is all a racist witch hunt hoax. That's their appeals process. When you appeal on criminal cases, you're typically appealing on a statute violation or a procedural violation by the opposing counsel or even by the judge in some cases. And the panel of judges at the appeals court will review that and decide whether to overturn the conviction, possibly even give a new trial. But you're not going to have an argument or leg to stand on decrying racism in the state of Texas when you look at the witness testimony and you look at the fact it was not an all-white jury. There were 7 white people. There was also some Asian individuals and a couple of Hispanic people as well.
And a Muslim woman.
And a Muslim woman. Mm-hmm. And they all which they're going to tell, by the way, they go to deliberation, they tell them take at least a minimum of an hour to get organized.
Yeah.
Then take the next hour to, start making your decisions and running through the charges and everything. And it took them, 2 hours, 45 minutes to come to a decision?
Yeah.
After the first 2 hours of sitting down and getting going, 45 minutes later, they were done.
And all of those different people with different cultures and all that, and they all agreed that he was guilty.
And then they also, we didn't talk about it yesterday, they threw him a bone with 35 years.
Oh, for sure.
And 17 and a half, he'll be eligible for parole.
His arse should have gotten the full 99. He should have gotten the full 99. Got to go, 525. Joan's got the news at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up, a lithium-ion battery explodes in a Spring Hill home. We'll tell you what happened next. It's coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. It is 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. U.S. military forces have launched a new round of attacks on Iran, striking dozens of targets, including air defenses and radar sites near the Strait of Hormuz. Trey Yingst at Fox News reporting President Trump wants Iran to get serious about peace negotiations.
But ultimately, if the Iranians are unwilling to give up their nuclear ambitions, open the Strait of Hormuz, and de-escalate across the region, President Trump says they're going to get hit with additional strikes. He even told me if they don't sign the deal on the table tonight, he will bomb the S out of them. And so it gives you a sense of the president's mindset right now. And if the Iranians are unwilling to make those concessions, then ultimately we are looking at more days of military action ahead.
Now, Iran launched missiles at its neighbors in response, and Iran's foreign ministry has issued a statement overnight calling the attacks a flagrant violation of international law that effectively rendered the April 8th ceasefire meaningless. Other news of the day, a new warning about lithium-ion batteries. A Spring Hill man telling News 2's Andy Cordan about a scary incident at his home.
After hearing a small explosion, Joseph Acapenti opens his garage door, only to see his remote control airplane battery burning like an 1800-degree flare.
Flames were just shooting out from where the batteries were. It wasn't like a campfire glow. It was shooting out almost like at the back of a jet engine or a flare.
Luckily, his family got out of the house. They called 911. Spring Hill Fire Chief Craig Temple telling News 2, you should never leave your batteries plugged in and charged. President Trump's triumphant arch planned for Washington, D.C. is going to be completed by the time he leaves office, according to the National Park Service. Construction, they say, will take place 20 hours a day over the next 2 to 3 years. That's according to planning documents. That project, like many others, is being challenged in federal courts. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Starting to tap the brakes now on 24 westbound in the Laverne area. Looking okay this morning on 40 and 65. And you've got, of course, the Bonnaroo Festival that begins today. Exit 111 off I-24 will be jammed. You all want to find an alternative way around that this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, Joan, programming note.
Yes, sir.
Monty Fritts has accepted my invitation. He'll be there between 7 and 8 this morning.
He heard you.
No, I called him.
You just kept on calling?
Yeah, he was like, God, quit calling me, man. I'll come on the show. So
Creeper.
I know.
You could have said, I'm sorry, Monty, my phone is on the Fritz.
So Monty is going to be with us. That's good, Sam. He's going to be with us in the 7 o'clock hour like John Rose was. You know, it's one of those things, real quick. It's one of those things you can't win for losing, right? Because I had John Rose on, and then all the Monty Fritts people started yelling at me because when are you going to have Monty Fritts on? And I'm like, guys, I'm working on it. You know, Monty's out of East Tennessee, so it's not like he could just, stop everything that he's doing to drive all the way out here to appear on this little old radio show. So, but apparently he's dropped everything to appear on this little radio show. Actually, he's got other events today. So it took a lot of sort of schedule wrangling, but I'm very excited to have Monty in coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. And
that's cool. I'm looking forward to that. I want to hear from him.
So just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
I'm not asking about the whole John Rose versus Monty Fritts, the whole battle on the internet about who's got more polling, whatever that was. I don't care about that. I literally am going to ask him the same questions that I asked John Rose, because those are the questions that I believe Middle Tennesseans and Tennesseans want to know, the very specific Tennessee issues. So some of that other stuff, I'm not going to worry about that. I am curious about his policy issues and how he feels about things. So then the only one that will be left, if I've got John Rose, right? I had John Rose on, and I had Monty Fritts on, Joan.
Marsha.
The only one left would be Marsha Blackburn. The invitation has been extended, and I'm still waiting to hear back. So we'll see what happens. Looking forward to having Monty in today at 7 o'clock here, Super Talk 99.7. All right,
wait, do you think they'll have a debate?
Who?
The three of them.
No. I think there was some sort of a thing about Rose and Monty Fritts debating, but Marsha Blackburn is not going to debate. Senator Blackburn, she has made it perfectly clear that she is not going to debate. It's bottom line. So, and I've talked about this. She's not going to debate. She's not going to do any, as they say, public-facing events because she's so far in the lead. And again, I don't agree with it, but I'm just telling you that political consultants will tell you don't put yourself in a situation when you're leading in the polling like she is. You don't put yourself in a situation where you could have an adverse social media viral moment. You just don't.
Marsha.
Thank you.
So anyway, you've got that. Can we talk about something that happened yesterday that I still don't exactly understand what happened? So I get out to my car.
Oh.
I make one quick stop, and then I'm out to my car, and I turn on the radio station, and I don't exactly know what's happening, but then I look at my phone, and everybody, I had 6 or 7 people that sent me messages on social media asking me, why is it that I'm reading books about penises? What is the plural of I don't even know. Whatever.
Peni.
I have no idea. Is that what it is, John?
I don't know. I would know.
So anyway, somehow in the middle of Joan's newscast, that stupid soundbite ended up dropping in the middle of your newscast, Joan.
I didn't know what to do.
We have the audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've edited it down from, when it occurs, we have to also talk about Joan Jones, the professional recovery to not break in
Well,
that
play
moment.
it. I want to hear it.
And then Chris Hand just comes out of the gate addressing it.
Throughout the trial, public protests and online threats.
Every Peanuts book known to man.
Court.
That's ABC's Lionel Moise reporting. Sorry about that.
Do we just address the elephant in the room, Mason? Is that what we need to do? I feel like we have to address the elephant in the room. Mason gets in. Joan, if you ever want to know how Joan is an ultimate professional,
the best in the business,
dedicated to her craft, and able to just do unbelievable feats that none of us could ever do with professionalism and class. That was the last newscast because Mason got in. We do the changing of the guard between Sam and Mason. And there's a couple things that go through the process. There's a secret handshake. There's a weird hug that they always do. And then, well, I'm sorry. What? Do you give me a dirty look? Was I not supposed to say the thing about the hug?
No. I deserve this.
So they do the weird hug. I don't want to get into too much detail, but there's also, it ends with a squeeze. So
squeezes on the shoulder. Let's clarify.
Okay. Well, it ends with a squeeze. So
he lies.
During the newscast, Mason starts setting up for the show. And I guess, well, if you're listening to the Super Talk, if you're paying attention to the Super Text line, a lot of people heard it.
Yeah.
But what button did you hit by accident during Joan's newscast? Could you, instead of telling us, could you show us?
Yeah, sure, Chris. Hold on.
Every Peanuts book known to man.
Okay.
Every Peanuts book known to man.
Oh, really?
A lot of people were accusing Dan of not turning his mic off. Dan was not in the studio.
Yeah.
Dan, not in ear. This is all Mason's fault.
All right, so hold on. So I had all these people, Joan, asking me why I didn't have my microphone off when I'm talking about reading Peanuts books.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I didn't know what in the world happened. I'm like, why do all these people believe that I was reading this kind of book? And then I turn on the radio and I hear what happened. And I thought it was funny as all get out. Like, I really did. But not funny is the fact that all these people think that I just randomly read these kind of books, which I don't even know. Are there books like that? Whatever. Anyway.
Well, the ones we're trying to get banned from the children's libraries.
There is that. So I wasn't real happy with it, to be perfectly honest, because there's a lot of people that have no idea that is a drop that is always like, being played for whatever reason. And I get that it's funny. I still believe that I said peanuts, by the way. What did Fly Girl say in the?
So yesterday on the Chris Hand show on the stream, Fly Girl got in the chat in all caps after she'd heard it and just typed out every penis book known to man. It's recognizable, but the really funny part is as much as Chris scolded Mason, they didn't really stop there.
No,
they kind of decided, what other buttons do we have on the board? And they kind of ran through a couple more.
Okay.
So before we get to Joan, what happened, bud?
So normally I turn off all the hotkey buttons where they're already off when I get in here. And I go through, I change the board to your show. This is from Dan's show. I change over to your show.
We don't often use the every penis book known to man hotkey. I'm not saying we're above it. I'm just saying we don't often use it.
No, I feel like it's hardly used on Dan's show either.
Oh,
okay. So,
but it's right next to the arrows to change pages, and my mouse is a little too high.
And so during the middle of the newscast, Joan got interrupted with
every Peanuts book known to man.
I just want to say that changeover thing, just before you change over the button, the squeeze happens. So maybe you should cut the squeeze out.
There should be less focus on the squeeze.
Yeah.
It's a shoulder squeeze. It's not that. Well, stop. No more
I don't know
handshake.
because everybody seems just hold on. Everybody seems Joan live now everybody seems really obsessed with the P word. So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what they're squeezing in the handoff. But there seems to be a lot of really weird masculinity stuff going on.
Listen, it like he said, it's shoulders. Every once in a while, it gets a little cheeky. All right?
All I'm saying...
We have a system. It works.
Okay. Well, clearly it doesn't work.
That's his system.
And then they started playing all the other little sound bites in there.
Yeah, all the... Yeah, they hashtag trendsetter baby. And
sure.
When you were messing with the screw in the mic and you couldn't get it in.
There's a lot of them in there. Like, Joan, I keep wishing for... All right, I'm done with this. Joan, I keep wishing that the computer would, like, crash and all of that would just go away. Will you be my rock of love? Okay. See, like that stuff. Why do I say these things, Joan?
I don't know,
because you know what? Amy brought up a really good point because I was telling her about this. You know what she said? She said, well, you say it. Why do you keep doing this? You give them more ammunition.
She's not wrong.
It's a fairly valid point.
Yeah.
I don't know why I do these things. I just do them. I can't play it straight. You know, when I'm on like Red Eye or some of these other, you know, fill-in shows and stuff, I can't have fun and I can't always be myself like I am here. Because, you know, I've got to be me. Hashtag trendsetter, baby. That's right. There you go. You know what's... Do you have a favorite, Joan? See, my all-time favorite, I think, is either hey, 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 or hashtag trendsetter. I think that one of... Which is your favorite? Do you have a favorite one?
Would you mind, Sam, just playing through the...
Oh, God.
You know, the whole host.
I would love a piece of that wood.
Yeah, there's that one.
That was pretty good, too.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to put it in, and I just can't get it in.
There's that.
Hashtag trendsetter, baby. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Will you be my rock of love?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you agree with President Trump? .com. All right. Where's hey, hey, hey?
I think we might have got deleted.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No.
All right.
I think we had to make room for things like this.
All right. Anyway.
Well, see, that wasn't worth it. The hey, hey, hey is much more worth it.
I know.
Has a better
hey,
payoff.
hey is like, you know, the greatest hits of Mandis.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So clearly what's happening, Joan, is they're deleting some of mine to make room for yours.
Yeah, that shouldn't happen.
So, I think that absolutely should happen. Hey, Joan, is there something happening traffic-wise? Because people are...
yeah.
Oh, people are saying Dan always talking about his ginormous hydrangeas. There is that. Is there something going on in traffic? Because people are asking about something on traffic.
Yeah, I'm hearing that there's something happening right now on 24 westbound at the 40 merge, the 40 west merge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing it on the traffic cameras, but there may be something going on there. Also, 24 eastbound in Jolton, stop and go traffic between New Hope Road and Whites Creek Pike. Perhaps overnight work there picking up. There was overnight work on 24 as well, and that may be slowing things down as they pick it up as well.
All right, very good.
There you go.
2278 actually asks a good question. Dan, who has been the most intriguing and best interview you have ever done? I don't know. I'd have to really, really think. I've done, I don't know, thousands of interviews over the years. I'd have to think about that. But I did interview a guy one time who died and went to heaven, he said, and came back. I don't even remember his name. I was filling in for Phil Valentine way back when, and on the network. And I interviewed this guy, and it was amazing what he went through and what he talks about and what heaven is really like. So I think that probably, again, I don't even remember the guy's name. It was so long ago. But I would say that was probably one of my favorites and one of the best as well. But I don't know. I'd have to really... my interview with Steve Perry, I think probably... You know what, 2278, my favorite interview was the interview that I did with Steve Perry from Journey. It was a bucket list thing, Joan. And somehow, through like 2 years of calling, I was able to interview my favorite singer.
Nice.
And and so that was one of my faves. And people who actually listen to that interview will tell you that's one of the best interviews he's ever done. So, because, I ask sometimes... questions that are a little off the wall. And he went with it. He went with it, and it was great. So I think 2278. Actually, thank you for the question. I appreciate that. All right, it is 5:52 on Super Talk 99.7. Coming up. Oh, real quick. Let's actually get some content here. You hear where CNN and some of the other folks that are Trump haters, Joan, they're trying to say that Donald Trump loves inflation.
Oh,
have you seen this?
I know.
You know how much they're taking his. This is video, Sam.
Yeah.
They're taking this way out of context. So CNN earlier was reporting that Donald Trump loves inflation. This is what they're basing this on.
Sure, the right people come into our country.
Are you going to go to any games?
I will.
I will. Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now.
So he doesn't finish the thought. But what he's saying is, I love the inflation numbers, number one, because they were right in line with the expectations. That's number one.
Right.
But number two, what he's saying is when this war is over, the numbers are going to go right back down. But in true Trump form, he doesn't finish the thought.
Yeah. The weave didn't complete.
Oh, the weave drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Not Ken Weaver. He's Weaves.
Yeah.
Ken is Weaves, but the weave by Donald Trump drives me nuts because it gives people ammunition to take his words way out of context, Joe.
And Red Eye Radio did the same thing. They fell in the same trap as all of the other Trump haters. And I hate that they fell into that trap because that's just before we come on the air and now we have to deal with it.
Did they actually play the audio?
I think
I
don't
want to.
But I heard him saying, that they wish he wouldn't say stuff like that. And,
Well, if he would have finished the thought, it's a fine thought.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
The inflation numbers right now, 4.2, I think it was?
4.2 is what it came in yesterday. It's
and
year over year.
And what Trump is saying is, I love it because it's going to go right back down when the war ends.
Yep.
That's what he meant.
Yep.
So I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I've said forever. I think you and I have talked about it, Joan. I don't like the weaving that he does. He calls it the weave. I don't like it because he doesn't finish thoughts. And it gives people the opportunity to take his words out of context, which is exactly what CNN is doing. They've done it before. They'll do it again. That, though, Joan, I would say is a consequence of the transparency of the Trump administration.
Yes. And what a stark contrast from what we were getting the 4 years before he came into office again.
That's exactly right. Yeah. All right, 5:54. Joan's got the news at 6.
Yeah, and coming up here, we've got the latest on what's happening in Iran this morning as airstrikes are ongoing. They're over for the night, but we'll catch you up on what's happening in the Middle East right now at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:59, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so a couple of things just real quick. A lot going on with Iran. We are going to talk about that coming up after the news at 6. I've got all kinds of audio and also the very latest. For those of you who have been waiting for President Trump to get more aggressive with Iran, I am raising my hand. Mandis, I'm looking at you. It's been a very good couple of days. So we have that coming up for you as well. Joan, oddly and bizarrely enough, people keep asking, we had that stupid conversation about my hydrangeas the other day.
Yeah.
People seem oddly fascinated with my hydrangeas, and I've been getting a lot of questions about it. I may actually break out my hydrangea video and play it during the commercials.
So, are you going to show them the videos you've been sending me of your hydrangeas, Dan?
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Maybe I will.
I mean, they're nice.
They're not fully bloomed. And I don't believe that you should, show your flowers unless they're fully bloomed.
Oh, okay.
So maybe I'll wait till I get back and they're fully bloomed, and that's when I'll show the video of my flowers.
You had better hope that it rains while you're gone.
I know.
Because it's going to be wicked hot.
Joan, will you come over and water my flowers when I'm
You
gone?
live too far away.
All right, 6 o'clock, WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. U.S. Military Central Command says the latest round of airstrikes against Iran have been completed. ABC defense analyst Mick Mulroy.
The U.S. is saying this is going to be limited, very intense, but limited, with the idea of getting Iran back to the negotiation table in a more serious manner. Because as the president said, it wasn't going anywhere. From the Iranian side, they're saying this is going to get them further away from that table. So we'll have to see what actually happens.
And Iran also announced they closed the Strait of Hormuz in response to the strikes. But the U.S. says that's not true. The strait is still being guarded by the U.S. Crime news. Police in Ohio identifying the suspect in the shooting that injured 12 people at a festival in Toledo on Sunday. They don't have 20-year-old Kanai Taylor in custody just yet. Police say that incident was a shootout between two rival gangs. And in Mississippi, two brothers charged in the shooting of a sheriff's deputy during a traffic stop have been denied bail. 18 and 19-year-olds Cortavian and Cortavius Hobbs have been charged with attempted capital murder. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
The crude oil roller coaster is back on the incline, with benchmark Brent crude topping $93 a barrel Wednesday. Renewed attacks and counterattacks by the U.S. and Iran have raised fears in the energy sector of more supply disruptions. Equities likewise had a rough Wednesday. The Standard & Poor's plunged 1.6%, while the Nasdaq Composite gave up 2%. The Dow Jones lost just under 1,000 points to finish the session back below 50,000. Echoes of the auto industry's World War II pivot to weapons production. Mercedes-Benz has signed on with a German tech company to develop a drone defense system. It'll use military versions of the Mercedes Sprinter van and the G-Class SUV. Joining in the FIFA fever, Starbucks is launching a new version of its Barista bear-shaped cups, wearing soccer-themed ball caps. You won't find them in coffee shops, but only online through Starbucks Rewards program. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stock futures pointing up. The Dow futures plus 364 right now. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. really slow now on 24 westbound heading into the Laverne area all the way into Nashville this morning. Looks like it's just normal volume delays there. You do have an accident on, let's see, this is apparently on 65 southbound at Briley Parkway, eastbound. That's exit 90B. Watch it. The two right lanes are blocked off by it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Welcome on in to Thursday, June 11th. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in to Nashville's Morning News. And coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, Monty Fritts is going to be joining us. Of course, Tennessee State Rep, but the other thing is, as y'all know, he is running for governor. I didn't know this, Joan, but yesterday, we did the whole, if the election were held today, who would you vote for?
Yeah.
WTN Nation said they'd vote for Monty Fritts.
Yeah. Yep, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so he's going to join us. I guess it was like 42% voted for Monty Fritts. Monty coming in first. I guess John Rose second, and Marsha Blackburn came in third. So we'll talk to Monty coming in here at 7 o'clock. Also at 6:36, we had that conversation about how the Tennessee State Legislature may be looking at next year redistricting the state legislature like we did at the federal level in the House of Representatives. So they're talking about doing that, and I've reached out to both Cameron Sexton and Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson, Senate Majority Leader here for the state of Tennessee, will be honest to talk about that and a couple of other things. So a lot happening here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. President Trump making good on his promise to bomb Iran yesterday, as they continue to ignore his demands to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Trey Yanks from Fox News spoke to the president as all of this was going on.
The president tells Fox News that 49 Tomahawk missiles were used to hit targets inside of Iran, some of them as close as 40 miles from the Iranian capital of Tehran. The president said that U.S. fighter jets are also operating over the skies of Iran, taking out radar systems and air defense systems in the southwestern part of the country, close to the Persian Gulf. This is all taking place as the Iranians are trying to get the United States to stop the bombing campaign. President Trump told me that Iran called him tonight. Top Iranian officials and President Trump spoke directly, according to the commander-in-chief tonight, as the president was sitting in the Situation Room. And he told me that the Iranians asked them to stop bombing. And the president said to me, the bombing will stop shortly. I asked him what will happen if the Iranians do not sign an agreement that was put forward by American negotiators. President Trump said, quote, we'll bomb the S out of them.
We'll bomb the S out of them. Now, CNN is reporting that Iran is now saying, and I don't know if you had this, Joan, I don't know how breaking news this is because they abuse the breaking news moniker. But they are saying that Iran is now saying this morning that this is a blatant violation of the ceasefire. I'm sorry, but what do you call trying to down one of our Apache helicopters?
Yeah, come on, guys.
Just shut the hell up, Iranians. And also, they also say that the war will continue until the United States respects Iran's interests. Well, I would say Iran has to respect the rest of the world's interests. They are the ones that have the Strait of Hormuz closed. But, the Iranians calling Donald Trump directly, that's a new one. He also, at one point, told the mediators in Qatar, Donald Trump did, that this was in response to the downed Apache helicopter and not meant to start a new war. He also said that this is going to continue and it'll increase incrementally until Iran comes to the table and negotiates and also opens the Strait of Hormuz. That's the whole thing.
So this morning in Iran, so they have Iran created this Persian Gulf Strait Authority, and they're supposed to be the ones that they manage the shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, and they charge fees for any vessels that are transiting through.
$2 million per.
Yeah. And they're saying that now the strait will be closed until further notice. And the U.S. is thumbing its nose at it because what we learned yesterday was that the Apache helicopter was there helping ships to get through the Strait of Hormuz without Iran knowing what's going on. And that's when Iran struck our guys with
accidentally
struck our guys with a drone that sat between the two pilots.
That is so amazing.
Yeah, on fire. Like, that's the craziest thing ever. So,
I want to see that made into a movie.
Yeah, I think it will be. I mean, imagine. So, Iran saying that they've closed the Strait of Hormuz is kind of a joke, knowing what we know now, that the U.S. was already allowing traffic to go through the strait, but it's traffic that we say goes.
But why would Donald Trump, can I ask this question? Why would Trump admit that? And I've actually got the audio coming up, but why would he admit that? Because have they just decided, well, we don't need to sneak ships through now?
Yeah.
Because I guess he was doing it on the Oman side at night in the dark. And so I'm just wondering why he would go public with that.
Yeah.
Are we no longer trying to sneak ships through? I don't know. I'm asking a question.
Great question. Yeah, I don't know.
So while all this is going on, Iran, Donald Trump says, begging Donald Trump to stop the bombing. And they came out bloviating. Here's what Iran says. Following the continued provocations of the criminal United States, the Strait of Hormuz is from this moment declared closed to all vessels, including oil tankers and commercial ships, due to the insecurity in the region. And they go on and on.
Well, they're also upset about another thing.
What's that?
Apparently, 14 to 15 key support staff of their soccer federation were not allowed into the country for the World Cup. So they've been denied visas.
Wah.
And the fact that they're upset about it kills me. Mehdi Taj, who's the president of the Iranian Football Federation, is a former IRGC commander. Why are you upset about that? So we've decided, apparently FIFA recommended, all right, Iran, how about you stay in Tijuana, and you have to, and the U.S. said, okay, they have to fly back and forth for every match now.
At least
they're still allowed to play.
I wouldn't be upset if we told them to go back to Iran and they weren't allowed to play. I mean, I understand that sports is not supposed to be about politics, but
they've kept Russia out of the Olympics, Olympic hockey. They kept Russia out of the Four Nations Cup. They've kept Russia out of so much stuff because of the Ukraine stuff.
All right, so real quick, this is Donald Trump talking about moving the ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships, late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it.
So that is Donald Trump, so secret's out. And that's good. He posted that we've been able to sneak roughly 100 million barrels of oil through the Strait of Hormuz and into the open market. By the way, the president is now asking for $350 million in military funding. President Trump posting on True Social last night that he is asking for more weapons and more artillery. Nothing really new here. He's been reiterating the need for more funds and for more weaponry. He's asking for Congress to pass the forthcoming $350 billion reconciliation bill. And so now the big question is, will Congress be able to pass it? Now, here's the other thing. He's calling this a generational investment in our military and is the only path to the full $1.5 trillion military budget he asked for a couple of months ago. But he wants to include the Save America Act into this legislation on military funding. And so And I get what he's trying to do. It's like, the big, beautiful bill 2.0. He wants to cram as much stuff in. He says no games, no delays, no weak compromises. The president says do this ASAP. So again, similar to the big, beautiful bill, he wants to combine different goals into one piece of legislation, making it, and I get it, more expedient. But the problem is that it's going to make it all that much more complicated to get the Save America Act passed, and it'll make it more complicated to get the military spending passed as well through the House and most certainly the Senate. He knows the Democrats. I think part of this is that the president knows the Democrats will vote no on literally anything he wants, regardless of how noble or justified. So really what he's doing is he is pressuring Republicans, namely those like Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Mitch McConnell, and Tom Tillis. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a nice day. It's going to be hot, some sun and clouds, and the feels like temperature is going to be, about 103, as a matter of fact. Appreciate you listening. What'd you say, Joan?
Balmy.
Balmy, yes. Balmy and sweaty is what the weather is. As I said in the 5 o'clock hour, I'm going to Florida to escape the humidity of Tennessee.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Amy and I were talking about how bad the humidity is going to be in Florida. There are days like this, it pays to be bald, I'm telling you. All right, there was a moment yesterday where Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, he was asked a question that he didn't like about war crimes.
If the response is in hitting bridges, electrical infrastructure, how would that not be a war crime potentially targeting civilian infrastructure?
Well, it's precisely the kind of disingenuous question that I'm used to from the media, impugning the motives of the folks on our side who are incredibly professional and incredibly effective. We will hit them hard on our terms, on the targets that improve the environment for us to operate in and undermine the capabilities that Iran wants to have. Again, they can't do that to us meaningfully the way that we can to them, but we're also clearly signaling to them, you have a choice. You have a choice in the way that you respond, and you have a choice with our incredible negotiating team in Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and the vice president and the president across the board, prepared, Marco Rubio, the whole team, prepared to make a great deal that would benefit Iran. They choose not to, and as a result, they're going to meet the United States Central Command again tonight in the way the president laid out clearly.
All right, so Pete Hegseth. So remember President Trump said that we could be hitting infrastructure like power plants and bridges. We've gone over this. It's considered a war crime if you hit civilian infrastructure. But if it's infrastructure that both civilians and the military use, it is permissible. And so Hegseth, I think that he handled it well. By the way, it is a legit question. I don't like the way that he framed it. I don't like how the reporter framed it. But I understand why they're asking. And so I did like and I accept the answer of Pete Hegseth. If it improves our military strategy, then do it. But then I started thinking about this. Go with me here, Joan. So if it is a war crime to do something that will impact civilians, could it be said that Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz is a war crime? Because
I think you could make an argument there.
Yeah, if we're now, they're using drones. They're using drones to bomb ships and stuff. So, and I'm not officially making this argument. This isn't like my official talk show host opinion. I'm just like asking a question. Mm-hmm. But does it impact civilians? Absolutely. It is impacting civilians across the world, actually, with oil and gas prices. They're
sending missiles into Bahrain, Jordan.
They're hitting apartment buildings, Joan.
Yeah. So are they harming civilians? Oh, yeah.
They've also mined the Strait of Hormuz, which could take out civilian ships.
Yes.
So seems to me like if we're going to talk about war crimes, we could talk about it from both sides of this war. because there is a direct impact on civilians and a threat to civilians as well. So I believe that it is a worthy discussion. By the way, who is on Donald Trump's side on all of this? Of all people. Do you know, I wish Chris Hand was here so that he could respond to none other than Nikki Haley admitting that Donald Trump is right on all this.
The reality is Iran never had any intentions of negotiating. I mean, they've done this so many times. They stall, they make you think they're going to do something, right when you think you've got a deal, they throw cold water on it. And then the whole time they're strategizing, they're rebuilding, they're starting to build back up to get ready for the next strike. And we know they have excavated 50 of the 69 tunnels that they had missiles in. Now, that doesn't build back up their force a lot, but it does allow them to just fight another day. They're willing to go through a lot of pain, and they don't want to go back to the pre-war status of the Strait of Hormuz. And I think Trump was right to absolutely say we're going to hit them, especially after they've gone after us. But let's take it a step further and go after China and Russia. China's providing man pads to Iran in this fight. Russia's providing drones. They both have provided satellite imagery in this to go after our bases. When we go after China and Russia and hold them accountable and tell them to stop, that's when we'll start to really see Iran get weakened.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we all know that Iran, Brett Hume had a great thing the other day. I think I played the audio where he was saying everybody knows Iran does not negotiate in good faith. People are chiming in on the super text line. Don't all wars impact civilians? Yeah, that's true. John in Lawrenceburg, thank you. By the way, Joan, traffic seems to be pretty bad. Is there something going on 840? Somebody is saying wreck 840 at mile marker 35.
Yeah, that's
both
Arno
lanes,
Road.
Both lanes are stopped right now. I just want to make sure that we have this.
So the traffic center says, and who knows if this is correct, but they're saying that I-840 eastbound past Arno Road, exit 37, there's an accident. The left lane is blocked off.
Okay. All right. So, and traffic backed up. So we'll check your traffic again in just a few minutes. Right now, it is 6:22 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan has the news coming up at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here with the stroke of a pen, President Trump signed that Border Patrol bill that funds ICE and Border Patrol. We've got details on that coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.623 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate. Kick off the summer stress-free and sell your home with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. You're going to save time, make the most money, eliminating all of that hassle. Now, the Wall Street Journal and Real Trends have consistently named Mark Spain Real Estate as the top real estate team in the U.S. for closed transactions for 9 years in a row, including being ranked the #1 real estate team in the nation for 5 consecutive years. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate sells over 4 homes every single hour, making them the most experienced real estate team in America. You can trust Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home hassle-free and for maximum value. Mark Spain Real Estate is the place that I would go if I had to sell my home today. Check them out, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD, or go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing. 628, Nashville's Morning News. 3606, Joan, a first-time texter. Iran murdered over 30,000 of their own civilians for protesting this year. That was before President Trump ever started this campaign, talking about that reporter asking about Donald Trump committing war crimes. I've had an idea, Joan. You know what I like to do?
What's that?
I would like to ask all listeners who have never texted in before just to text in and say good morning.
Oh,
I would just like to know, because, I mean, putting all modesty aside, like we have like thousands of people listening. It shocks me every day. So it's like, why? But anyway, so if you are a listener and you can simply text in good morning and you've never texted in before, I want to hear from you. I want to know how many never texters there are. 2609. Good morning and go F yourself. Nice.
Oh.
This apparently is now what I've invited. All right, got to go.
I gotta admit, that was me.
Oh, is that you? Do you know
Was it seriously?
Yeah.
Apparently
I'll tell him myself.
that's actually good, Sam. All right. Right back at you. 6:30 on WTN.
Good morning now, 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. With the stroke of a pen, President Trump signed that bill that funds ICE and Border Patrol.
We'll give the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol, and that's what they are, they're heroes, what they have to go through to keep us safe, the support and resources they need to defend our borders, protect our homeland, and to keep America safe.
Now, this is that $70 billion funding that lasts through the end of the president's administration. The package was passed without the help of a single Democrat. Meantime, the FISA surveillance law, that's set to expire tomorrow. Georgia Republican Congressman Austin Scott serves on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
I would just ask that we abide by common sense and the rule that we first do no harm by taking down a valuable national security tool that the United States of America needs.
What's the holdup with an extension? Well, Democrats and some Republicans say they're concerned about the nomination of Bill Pulte to replace Tulsi Gabbard as make that director of national intelligence, citing his lack of intelligence experience. Metro Nashville Council will take up the issue of data centers again today after having passed a moratorium on them at the last meeting. Now, that moratorium would need to pass 2 more times to take effect. Meantime, at Fisk University, some students are speaking out against a planned data center on the campus. Here's one student speaking to WSMB4.
Just imagine what that would do to students who want to pull all-nighters, students who are maybe trying to get, rest before an exam or before a really important class in the morning. So I think just noise pollution alone would be very disruptive.
Yeah, the university says the data center would enhance its technology footprint. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, a couple things going on here on 40 westbound right at the eastern split, just past the I-24 40 East merge there. There's an accident in it looks like the two left lanes blocked off, and people are coming around that curve pretty quickly, and it looks like it's in a pretty precarious place this morning. Watch it when you're coming around that curve because you'll come up on those vehicles in the left lanes pretty quickly. There are some vehicles, some emergency vehicles on the scene there. Careful as you go. Elsewhere, Brentwood on 65 North at Concord Road. The HOV lane is blocked off with a crash. Paytonsville, that 840 eastbound accident this morning. It's right at Paytonsville Trinity Road. The accident there blocked the left lane of I-840 eastbound just to Paytonsville Road. Madison, 65 South at Briley Parkway. An accident there now cleared, still jammed up around the area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. A story out of the TriStar Daily and elsewhere. This was all over the place yesterday. The Tennessee State Legislature may be considering redrawing state districts. We know what they did congressionally at the federal level. Now they may do it at the state level, at least according to some of these articles that I read. This is ripped straight from the Tennessean. A spokesperson for the Tennessee Senate Republicans said lawmakers are likely to consider legislation related to redrawing Tennessee House of Representatives and Tennessee Senate districts next legislative session, saying, given the Supreme Court's decision, I would expect the next General Assembly to consider legislation related to continued redistricting efforts for Tennessee's state Senate and House district maps. Tennessee Senate Republican Caucus Press Secretary Molly Crawford said in an emailed statement. She also said that she expects legislation to be filed. She added that this legislation would have to go through the committee process, so it is too soon to know what that outcome would be. Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. And Jack, as always, thank you very much for being here. I saw all of this reporting and immediately, obviously, wanted to know where you stand on redistricting the state legislative maps.
Hey, good morning, Dan. It's always great to be with you. Thanks for having me on again. Well, obviously, in the wake of the Supreme Court decision, the Calais decision, as you accurately stated, we did feel there was an urgency and a need. The President of the United States, President Trump, called our governor and asked us to revisit our congressional district lines. As you know, that led to a special session, and we, in fact, did redraw those lines as a direct result of that Supreme Court decision. There have been conversations about does that trickle down, if you will, to a need and create a need for us to revisit our state Senate and state House district lines. And I think your listeners should know, Dan, I know you know this, we are required constitutionally to redraw our lines after the census every 10 years. That'll come up again in 2030. We'll have a census. And to reapportion is the exact word, because obviously we've had a lot of new people moving into Tennessee. Populations have changed. Middle Tennessee has probably grown more than the East and West Tennessee. And that may lead to redrawing those lines, probably will in 2030. The question is, do we need to do that sooner? And I can tell you, in my estimation, I don't think we need to with our state Senate maps. It'll probably be a good conversation to have, but I think we can wait until 2030 when we were ordinarily scheduled to do this. And keep in mind that drawing 9 congressional maps, that's 9 districts, because we have 9 congressional districts. That's a far different story than drawing 33 state Senate districts or even 99 state House districts. Now, I want to be clear, I'm speaking for the Senate. If our friends in the House wish to do something, we'd do everything we could to accommodate them. But I don't see a need to do anything with our state Senate districts.
So to the point of the articles, you see that they say that Tennessee already has a supermajority, which we do. What would the point be? And I'm thinking that it could be tied to the behavior of the Democrats, particularly in the House, based strictly on the abhorrent behavior of the two Justins, Gloria Johnson, some of the rest of these folks. You know more about this kind of thing than I do, but would it even be possible to redistrict them out of the House, the two Justins, for example?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that. Excuse me. As I said, when you're drawing districts for 99 House members from one end of the state to the other, and you have to deal with population concerns, you do your best to not split counties. Sometimes it's necessary to do that. You want to make every effort to keep districts whole within inside a county. We do that and have done that on the state Senate side. I don't know that redrawing the maps would be an effective way to deal with those very, very inappropriate actions that took place in the House and sadly took place on the last day of special session in the Senate as well. There are other mechanisms we can use and are using to try to address those matters, but I don't know that redistricting would be the answer.
If we can, I think you and I spoke about it, but if we can retrace, what are those mechanisms heading into the next legislative session on the state level? What are those mechanisms, sure, and do you think that it will actually do the trick? Because it feels like at this point that it's interfering with business.
It absolutely is interfering with business, and as you mentioned, our friends in the House have been dealing with inappropriate behavior by some of their members. I really applaud and commend Speaker Cameron Sexton. I know he's a great friend of your show. Is on frequently. And the leadership he has shown with other members of House leadership in trying to deal with that. Same on the Senate side. Our Speaker, Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally, took some decisive action relative to some antics that took place on the last day of special session. I break it into two categories: the speakers of either chamber, Speaker Sexton, and on the Senate side, Speaker McNally. They have tools at their disposal relative to per diem payments, relative to travel, going to conferences, relative to staffing. There are a number of things that our system empowers our speakers to do, and they can do that anytime year-round, and that's what Speaker McNally did on the Senate side. The next bucket, if you will, or tranche of authority you have is the body, and the Senate and the House can adopt rules and can take action relative to member behavior when that is necessary. So all of those tools are at the disposal of either chamber, either through the Speaker or through the body and adoption of their rules. And I can tell you that our Speaker has taken action in the Senate, and we will take further action when we convene in January.
All right, very good. Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson joining us. Of course, just so people know, I'm going to move on from this, but Cameron Sexton, House Majority Leader, was quoted, House Speaker, was saying basically his quote is that if it's brought up in his caucus, then he would look at it. So if the House wanted to do this, you've just said you'd be happy to work with them. Again, you've been in local politics for a long time. The next time they're going to have the census, obviously, is in 2030. Lord knows how much our population will grow by then. But, you know, if you look at the current trends, what changes do you foresee after the next census? A lot of people are worried about all of these, people coming in from other states and, Democrats coming in and this, that, and the other. But I mean, I guess the bottom line is, what do you see happening in 2030 after the 2030 census, if anything? Do you have any predictions?
Well, I feel like Tennessee, and this is somewhat anecdotal, but yet we're seeing this, Dan. We see this in polling. We see it as we're just out and about in our districts. Tennessee is experiencing tremendous growth, probably a little more concentrated in the Middle Tennessee area versus East and West, but yet our entire state is growing. I think I saw a statistic recently that 90 out of our 95 counties in Tennessee are experiencing population growth. And so people want to come to Tennessee. We're the best managed, most conservative state in America, and that is leading to people wanting to come here, businesses expanding here, and so forth. And by and large, that's a good thing, although it does bring certain challenges. On the political side, my experience is, by and large, people are moving here because they like our values. They like Tennessee's conservative values, and they're tired of the taxes and the regulation and the declining quality of life that you're seeing in liberal, left-leaning states like California, New York, Illinois, and so forth. So I don't think that our ideology is changing. I think, if anything, Tennessee might even be becoming even more conservative, which is a good thing. And so we'll see. We'll see how that transpires. We'll all be watching our voting results. It was a big election year in Tennessee, and nerds like us that are really into politics, we paid a lot of attention to those election outcomes and how many votes our Republican candidates get versus Democrat. And I actually think we're growing and becoming an even more conservative state, and that's going to lead to us becoming continuing to be a leader in the nation.
The ongoing drama over the airport authority, there seems to be an update to that story, and as it happens, I had you on this morning. So I want to talk about that coming up next to Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson is here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. Hot, muggy, going to feel like 103. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. All right, so I saw this new development in another story, Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson. You and I have spoken about this. The state's attempt to take over the airport authority. The state legislature and the governor all passed and signed laws back a few years ago that would basically mean state lawmakers would take over the BNA board. Lawsuits were filed and the state was defeated in court. So now there is another piece of legislation demanding basically the same thing, that state lawmakers should take over the BNA board. Again, more lawsuits have been filed. So, I mean, number one, did I get that story right? I probably missed something. Why should state lawmakers be able to take over the board of BNA?
Well, one modification I would make to that headline that you got from, I'm not sure the media outlet, this is not an attempt for the state to take over the Airport Authority Board. This is an attempt for the state to add some geographic diversity to the board's representation, to those who serve on the Airport Authority Board. And here's what I mean by that. You are correct. Several years ago, we passed legislation in Tennessee to broaden the representation of the Airport Authority Board. And let me give you a couple of reasons why. The Nashville Airport is a very well-run airport. Doug Crulin is the CEO there, does an incredible job. It's one of the best-run airports in all of America. And if you travel much, then you know that.
Yes.
It's a wonderful, wonderful airport. The traffic that goes through that airport, less than a third of the passenger traffic that goes through that airport comes from Nashville, Davidson County. Yet, under the current system, the mayor of Nashville has sole appointing authority to appoint the board. No one else gets to pick any member of the board of directors for the Nashville Airport. Well, if Nashville only has a third or less than a third of the traffic that goes through there, or the people who travel through that airport come from Nashville, why would the Nashville mayor have sole appointing authority? Mm-hmm. Secondarily, the city of Nashville gives not one red cent to the airport. The city of Nashville does not provide any financial support to the Nashville Airport. Yet, the state of Tennessee has given the airport hundreds of millions of dollars to help with their growth and expansion. Yet, no one from the state has any appointing authority to the board of directors. So, 3 or 4 years ago, we passed a bill that simply said the mayor can continue to appoint people to the board, the mayor of Nashville. That's fine. But we're also going to let the governor appoint a couple of people, the Speaker of the House appoint a couple of people, and the Speaker of the Senate appoint a couple of people to the board. Kind of makes sense to me. And by the way, full disclosure, I was appointed to serve on the Airport Authority Board once that legislation passed. I didn't ask to be, but I was asked to do it, and I agreed to serve on because Williamson County that I represent has the second highest number of people that utilize that airport. It kind of makes sense. We have almost as many people out of Williamson County that utilize that airport as Nashville does. Yet there's no representation from Williamson County or Wilson County or Rutherford and so forth. So that's all we tried to do. We passed that legislation. We were sued, and unfortunately, that legislation was enjoined. And the reason we were sued is because it applied only to Nashville. So we considered that legislation and said, you know what, you're right. Probably the same is true in Memphis and Knoxville and Chattanooga. So we passed a different bill to broaden the representation for all of our airports, because you could say the same about those as well.
Yeah.
And I'm very disappointed that Mayor O'Connell has asked his law director to sue us over that. I hope we prevail in that litigation, because we should have broader representation on the airport authority. Sorry, that was a long answer, but I wanted to make sure I gave you the full context.
I'm known for long questions, so it's all good. And that made all the sense. And it does make sense. I mean, the way that you framed it, why should the Nashville mayor get sole authority over appointing those on the BNA board? The way you presented it, it's absolutely right that there should be broader representation on that board. I would ask this question. I'm just kind of curious. So, does the mayor, knowing how liberal he is, does he only put people on there that have a specific political bent? Is it not a political position? I've never in my life, except back in 2023 when you and I spoke about this, I've never in my life thought about the BNA board, like ever.
So I would tell you, I don't know if there's a political angle to it. I can tell you that again, I served for a brief period of time as a member of the airport authority, and it was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot about airports and how they operate. I can tell you that there are some observers who would say that the process worked better when you had that broader representation. And I think you had consideration of some of the concerns for people who, and keep in mind, the Nashville airport, people from all over the state use that airport. Some people from Knoxville will drive to Nashville because they can get a direct flight versus having to connect out of Knoxville. So, and even people from other states, people from Kentucky and Alabama utilize our airport. So it really is becoming a big deal. And I think it makes sense to have a more effective representation on there. So when I was on there, the board worked very well, very efficiently. And so I'm hopeful that this new legislation that we passed, I'm disappointed that Nashville is suing the state over it, trying to get that enjoined. And I hope we prevail, because I think it's better for the airport.
I think it is too, actually. Is there a timeline on this? Like when is it going to go to court and all that?
No, I think the city of Nashville, and I haven't read the filings on it, but we'll be briefed. Our amazing Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti and his team will, as they always do, a great job in defending our legislation. But that's typically up to the court system, and I think they've requested an injunction to stop this legislation from going into effect pending a longer term trial. I hope that is unsuccessful, and we can get this new board in place, because Tennessee is going to continue to grow, and more people are going to be utilizing our airport. I can tell you they have big plans for expanding over the next 10 to 20 years to make sure they can accommodate the needs of Nashville and, more importantly, the state of Tennessee in terms of air traffic.
Always great to have you on, Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson, and good luck with that lawsuit, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
All righty. It is 6:52. He is right about BNA, man. You do any kind of traveling at all, BNA is one of the absolute best airports out there. And Doug Crulin, I know that I've had him on the air many times here on Nashville's Morning News. Every single day, if Doug happens to be listening, Joan, if you're there, Doug, the guy that runs BNA, remember a while ago, Joan, when he promised us a whole bunch of BNA swag?
Oh, right.
Every day. Like a kid waiting for Santa Claus.
You go to the mailbox and
I go to the mailbox and I look for my BNA swag from Doug Crulin. Never comes.
Well, a pilot has to give you the little stick-on wings.
Do you know what I would say to Doug? Listen, if you want to just put the stuff on a plane and they can drop it into my backyard, because I don't know about you, Joe. I'm in the flight path of BNA.
Oh,
where
yeah.
I live.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Maybe they could just drop it in a drone right down in your backyard.
That's exactly right. All right, got to go. It is 6:53. Joan's got the news at 7. Joan.
Yeah, we'll tell you the one request from Iranian leaders as the U.S. hit that country with new airstrikes overnight. It's coming up at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends, it's Dan Mandis. Are you currently taking or considering starting a GLP-1 treatment for weight loss? My friends at Contours LLC, they can help you combine your GLP-1 with their ultra slim red light technology to maximize the outcome of your endeavors. Contours red light technology works by using a red light at a specific wavelength and focal strength to penetrate through the skin into the subcutaneous layer of fat below it and trick the cells to open a pore, liberating that trapped fat. Now, that's a long way to say you're going to lose a couple of inches across the middle. It works instantaneously without pain or downtime. The technology is cleared by the FDA. The red light technology helps you liberate the fat, but also tightens the skin. So it is a natural complement to anyone taking a GLP-1. Working together, you lose the weight and lose the inches. And bingo, a new you for summer. So call and talk to my friends at Contours LLC about your GLP-1 results and see if adding their ultra slim technology would be a good 1-2 punch for you. Go try it for $99. You can find them at 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. ContoursLLC.com. After all, what have you got to lose but inches? $6:57. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Do you know what's so sad, Joan?
What's that?
Is that I once again I have had to FaceTime my wife trying to get me something that I recorded at home over to the radio station. Oh. And you know, as chipper and as excitable as I am at 7 o'clock in the morning after my 15 cups of Wally's Bean Machine coffee at wallysbeanmachine.com.
Yeah.
Amy hasn't had a lick of Mountain Dew yet, and she's a little annoyed.
I get that.
So
she's not all jacked up yet?
She's not all jacked up yet. You know when she'll be jacked up? When I get home and she thinks about the amount of sleep that she missed because the absent-minded professor that is her husband forgot to attach a couple of things to his Evernote this morning. So whatever.
Trying to get in the doghouse before you go on vacation?
That's exactly right. You know what? I want an excuse to go sleep on the beach. You ever slept on the beach, Joan?
Dan, I used to live at the beach, so yeah, I slept on the beach a lot.
Is that not the best thing ever?
I love, love, love sleeping on the beach until the little kids come, start kicking sand on you when they run by.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Monty Fritts is actually in the building.
Oh.
He is.
We all have to behave now.
I know, we do.
Just when I was going to show my beach-related tattoo.
So Monty is at he's at the reception desk. I feel pressure to go get him. But we're ready to go now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get Monty. Monty's going to be with us for the entire hour from 7 to 8. I'm going to ask Monty the same questions that I asked John Rose. And we'll see how he does. A lot of people in this audience really like Monty Fritts running for governor. As a matter of fact, Joan, you may or may not know this, but Monty Fritts won our Daily Dan poll yesterday when we said, if the election were held today, who would you vote for, Monty, Marcia, or John? And Monty won by like 42% or something like that.
I voted for him.
Oh, did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Inflating the vote.
I hope you ask him all the questions that I want to ask him too, because otherwise I'll...
Well, you can jump in if you want.
All right.
All right, it is 7 o'clock, WTN.
Good morning, 7 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A fresh wave of attacks on Iran overnight after President Trump said that Iran is playing us for suckers. Trey Yingst at Fox News reporting that President Trump took a phone call from Iranian officials.
Top Iranian officials called him directly, asking him to stop the bombing. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth spoke before the strikes began.
Instead, they're going to have tap, tap, tap bombs dropping on key facilities in Iran from the United States of America. And that's not because we want to restart anything we don't have to restart. It's because the War Department is prepared to set the terms to ensure that we get the kind of deal President Trump expects.
Now, in response, the Iranians launched ballistic missiles and drones at Gulf countries, including Bahrain and Kuwait. The Jordanian army says they dealt with at least 20 Iranian ballistic missiles in the skies of their country.
The U.S. operation involved the deployment of 49 Tomahawk missiles alongside fighter jets targeting radar and air defense systems. Closer to home, the U.S. Marshals Service searching for a man wanted for murder. Here's WSMV4's Tracy Cornett.
38-year-old Jesse Wayne Phillips is on TBI's most wanted list. He faces charges in the death of Chris Yates. Phillips allegedly shot Yates during an argument. It happened May 27th on Parker Road in Palomal, which is in Ventress County.
Yeah, Phillips' truck was later found abandoned in Clinton County, Kentucky. Now, there's a $5,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. You can see a photo of him on my X account. Check it out at Joan Jones WTN. Greenbrier police are asking for the public's help finding the gang breaking into cars there. Channel 4's Marius Payton.
The Greenbrier Police Department say more cars are being broken into. It happened between 3 and 4 yesterday morning. Police say up to 8 cars were broken into, and one of them was stolen. 2 guns were also taken.
Police are asking people living on Church Street, Sunday Silence Drive, Wilson Street, or Green Meadow Court to check doorbell camera footage and see if you can provide information about the break-ins to police. And 1 year after a damaging fire at the downtown library parking garage, the first 3 floors are being reopened to the public. Good news for sure, but this volunteer at the library spoke to Channel 4.
Well, it's a bit encouraging, but 3 floors would hardly house the people that work at the federal courthouse that park here, or the people that are going to come work on the garage because they'll be parking in the garage too.
The library reopened in March. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Look at the futures looking good this morning. Dow futures plus 372. We'll need that, though, after yesterday's losses. NASDAQ futures plus 340. S&P futures, they're up 51. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit, but we have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations, we install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email.
All right, it is a mess this morning at the Eastern Split. It's 40 westbound just past I-24. There's a crash there. 2 left lanes are blocked by it, and you come around that curve pretty quickly. You're going to see the flashing lights of the vehicles that are there. Looks like an ambulance has now shown up as well. Cedar Hill, 24 eastbound before Maxey Road. Watch for a crash there. In Paytonsville, they're still working on that I-840 eastbound crash. It's the left lane blocked off right at Paytonsville Trinity Road. Crash looks to be in the median. It's pretty slow in that area. And also this morning, if you're traveling in the Manchester area, just keep in mind that the I-24 exit number 111 is the one being used for Bonnaroo. That's the official exit. So if you live or have any other business around that area, you might want to find a different exit and get around. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. And welcome on in to a Thursday, June 11th. Monty Fritts is joining us in studio. Monty, how are you?
Good morning, Dan. Thank you for allowing me to join you today.
Absolutely. Well, what I'm doing is I'm earmarking an hour out of a selected broadcast to have you folks in who are running for governor. And so I didn't realize, but this audience really likes you, just to let you know. And I mentioned this before we went to the news, but we did a Daily Dan poll. I do these stupid polls. And if the election were held today, who would you vote for? And 42% of the folks said one Monty Fritts.
How about that?
So I've had John Rose on,
yes,
and I've got you on now. Hopefully Marsha Blackburn will come on. We'll have to see how that works out. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about who you are, just
sir.
real quick, because everybody knows John Rose,
Yes.
right? But I don't know if I've ever actually interviewed you. So you are the Tennessee State Rep for the 32nd District. You are an Army veteran, and you are somebody who I think the audience should know. So just give us a 60-second elevator pitch, not on politics, but who is Monty Fritts?
Yes, sir. I'm a husband to Denise for 42 years, father of 2 grown sons, 4 grandkids. Spent a career in high consequence nuclear manufacturing. A little bit of time in law enforcement type work. Younger, laid blocks, poured concrete, roofed houses, cut step stringers, those kinds of things. Have a few college degrees, master's in arts and theological studies at Liberty. My BS is there. And I have an MBA from the University of Tennessee. I was not a college student coming out of high school, joined the Army. I was a late bloomer with the education, but appreciative.
I was going to say, wow, you got a lot of education there.
We do. I got a chance to do certificate program at MIT when I took the director of operations up at nuclear fuels, which was in 2016 after Trump was before Trump was elected, 2016. I'm sorry. And I had to do an MIT or a Kennedy School or something to get naval reactors in the federal government to allow me to hold that VP director role. And so I have a lot of fun with that. With this accent, when I say I've got a certificate in operations excellence from MIT, people giggle sometimes, Dan.
Do people, and because I was talking to a friend of mine who has a very, very heavy Tennessee accent, Southern accent,
yes,
but like you, is very educated.
Yes.
And he told me that he likes to, he's a business guy.
Yes.
He didn't mind going into meetings and sort of disarming them with the accent and then coming in for the kill with the education and the smarts.
Yeah. I had some fun at that. We did like a Charlie Kirk thing up at ETSU some months back, and where the young people would come in and ask questions, and we were talking about the Constitution, talking about the Lord, and had a young man come up to me, and he was struggling with the conversation about Christ, and he said to me, he said, "Mr. Fritts," he said, "why do you sound so stupid?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean, brother?" And he said, "Well, I've looked at your resume. You're an educated person, but it's like you're just dumbing yourself down to us." I said, "Brother, this is just me. It's what you get." I've tried to just be me.
Were you insulted by that?
No, not really. He's a young guy. We're all recovering teenagers.
Okay, yeah.
To quote a friend of mine. And, I think that's good. I think it's good to have the dissenting and, I'll tell you, Dan, one of the things I think the Lord's taught me being in politics for 4 years that I needed, and I hate to say this, but I needed it in my 60s, that I ought to be able to sit down and just argue policy and law and everything with you like cats and dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Get up and hug you or shake your hand and love you as a countryman when we leave. And I'm hoping God teaches me to do that even better. I think I know I've learned a lot about that. It's important.
So I'm going to throw a bunch of questions at you. Love what you're saying so far. Your background in nuclear. Are you satisfied with where Tennessee is regarding nuclear energy?
No. We have a couple long poles in the tent to overcome. I've spoken with Governor Lee about this some years ago. We need to, and we've got investment taking place, but we need to get to enriching fuel again domestically so that we can have something other than the 3 to 5% isotopic enrichment of U-235. We need to get that HALEU. I think we're several years out on that. I think it's to get optimal efficiency from the next generation of these modular reactors after we get past this GE Hitachi that's going in Clinch River. I think we're going to have the higher assay fuel. Everybody else does too. Right now, there's very limited supply of that domestically, and we have to buy it from China or Russia. That's not a good option. Authorization basis is a big thing. It's one of the big cautions that I have with our industry and some of the eminent domain stuff that we talk about from time to time with USTVA. We've got to have the public support in what we're doing. I think while we are thirsty for kilowatts, about 1 out of 4 that we use today come from outside the state of Tennessee. That's a problem for us. It results in higher rates because, to be quite honest, those that have oversight capability or authority and responsibility over USTVA have failed us miserably over the last few decades. We've shut down generating capacity. We've made coal a 4-letter word. We better keep the coal fires burning and the gas burning until we can get the nuclear up. And there's a challenge, and that's where I'm headed with the authorization basis. I think.
What does that mean? Like, I don't want you to talk over people's heads.
Okay.
So what is that? Dumb it down for folks.
An authorization basis is just a set of documents that take all the postulated scenarios for accidents and mistakes and all that and put them together so that you have a design / operating document that you have to live within the country. It's kind of like the constitution of a nuclear facility, okay? A written constitution. And that takes some money and some time to pull those together. And so where I'm headed with getting that AB in place is going to be important, but maintaining the confidence of Tennesseans. Everybody wants to hit the light switch and turn the lights on. I will bet you when we start popping small modular reactors in Nashville and in Shelby County and Lake County, there's probably going to be some concerns, right, about do we want that here? It's part of the reason that we stood up, I think my first year, second years at state rep, we do a Nuclear and Innovative Energy Day on the Hill now here in Nashville. And we bring in those nuke waste, nuclear criticality safety, hydrogen, all fuel sources in. They meet with the legislators, they meet with the staff, whomever here, and we help try to proliferate that there is more to nuclear than what some people often assume, and just how important it is and how really safe nuclear power is.
I'm a big fan of nuclear power.
Yes.
Part of my question is that have you been able to give the governor any kind of guidance on where we need to go next in our quest for nuclear energy?
Well, probably not. We don't see eye to eye on things. I've spoken with him. I love him, but I don't know that he's taken any advice. His departments have been reluctant to take advice about things, to be honest.
Okay.
We did set up my first year in an energy strategy in Tennessee so that and with a big overarching goal of being a net exporter of kilowatts, which is a big, hairy goal, but we've got to get there. In second year, we restructured the State Energy Policy Council so that we have non-paid subject matter experts from everything from the nuke power to the oil and gas extraction, which is big on the Highland Rim, even out to Memphis, which has 1% of the nation's sweet crude refining capacity. And I'd like to see that be 2% and 3% and so forth. Power distribution, there's a good group of people together. We've been reluctant to get that going. The departments have kind of fought me on repositioning that. Right now, that group reports to the comptroller. Comptroller Mumpower agrees we need to get it into TDEC or Office of ECD. Or both, and I've tried to do that, and they've resisted a little bit on that. I don't know if it was because it was my idea, and I kind of call them out on things, or if they have a better idea. I'm waiting to see. I'd hoped we'd get that through this year. That's important to us. I'm going to push that this group meets regularly and provides. Their whole goal is, from my perspective, as being the one that designed that piece of legislation, that we have those subject matter experts that they meet on a regular basis and every year offer a policy set of thoughts, of considerations, of recommendations that the General Assembly and the governors in the future can take to heart in making decisions.
Monty Fritts wants to be your next governor. 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Sunny this morning, cloudy this afternoon, high of 95, going to feel like 103. Monty, let me ask you, I know that you voted against the education scholarships.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that you still don't like the education scholarships, and what would you do now that they have been in place here for a year or two, a couple of years now, certainly by the time the election happens? What would you do with the education scholarship program once you became governor, if you were elected?
Well, I think Article 11, Section 12, second sentence of that says the General Assembly shall provide for the maintenance, support, and eligibility standards for a system of free public schools, precludes us from using public dollars to fund private schools. And I'll stop that if I'm elected governor. Okay. That'll be unpopular with 35,000 people now, a few more, but it's the constitutionally right thing to do. I don't think it demeans at all the choice. I think God gives parents already the choice to decide whether they public school, private school, or homeschool their children, or school them at all, to be honest with you, if indeed we're free. But to incentivize that decision, I don't think is addressing the problems that we have in public education. I want to get rid of the overuse of standardized testing. I'd like to see a leaner, more excellence-focused Tennessee Department of Education. I'd like to see the measurements for success in developing leaders in our school be part of what we do here in Nashville, because that's important. I don't think we're doing very well at that. Now, statewide, I don't think we're doing well at leadership development.
So what would you do with the people that have already gotten the scholarships and they're going to a different school? Would they just have to go back to their previous school?
Well, some of them probably would make the decision to do that, to go back to their public school. But I think many of them, based on what we can find out about the records, they were already going to the private schools anyways. And again, I have compassion for the folks. I understand that. I know that's not going to be popular with them, but again, it is the constitutionally right thing to do.
I think folks, if you're in a challenged district, like a Shelby County, like a Davidson County, although I think Davidson's doing a little bit better, but I think that parents do feel trapped. And how do you feel about real quickly, the state taking over the school district in Shelby County?
Well, we moved to do that this year, and I was in support of that. It's a reluctant support. You hate to have to do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But they're failing the people there. And when I knock doors in Orange Mound or anywhere in Memphis area, 2 or 3 things come up. From little old granny ladies to old men to young folks to young mamas. Do something about the perpetual crime and the corruption, and do something with our schools. Those are resounding messages.
So how do you fix Memphis? I mean, I know that we've taken over the schools, and that's a huge step, I believe. But ultimately, what is the problem?
Well, I think particularly on the schools, there has to be an exit strategy for what we've done as well. Otherwise, it just becomes a Band-Aid on something that continues to bleed. And we've got to fix that. So we have to have a corrective action and plan in place so that we work ourselves out of that. The Department of Education is going to be key in doing that, so that within 3 years or 4 years or 5 years or whatever that deadline is, that we put in place a set of systems to help. And I think, again, part of that's leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And I think we've invested so little in developing leaders in our public school systems, and it shows in some places.
You talk about like the school board?
Well, the school boards perhaps even, but even the administration directors. And I think sometimes we're not putting the investment in the people to get them ready to successfully lead. And quite honestly, here in the Tennessee Department of Education in Nashville, we failed on that miserably. We've brought in commissioners of education that, in my opinion, were focused more on a Common Core type approach and a growth of government in Nashville rather than providing resources and opportunities to the folks in the field. And I think there's an old maxim, tell me how you measure me and I'll tell you what I am. I think we've got our measurements wrong on what's success in many cases. When you think, I don't know this number to be a fact. I'm just telling you what a 4th grade teacher told me late last week, early this week. It all runs together. He said that their school spent about 60 days a year either preparing for, administering, or recovering from standardized testing. Mm-hmm. When I grew up, I'll be 63 this year. That was not the case. And that impedes the curriculum development. I think that we should be teaching our teachers in our universities. I know that we did at one point in time. We still do this to some great extent. Take a subject matter, develop a lesson plan, develop that lesson plan for the students, provide it to the students in that classroom, K through 12, whatever that is, actually K through college and all of life. Mm-hmm. Evaluate the knowledge retention of those students, and then that teacher in consult with mom and dad, with the kids, with the kid, and with the principal, decide if that child's ready for the next challenge. I voted for this 3rd grade thing that we did a couple years ago. I think we messed that up a little bit. In good intentions, but I think we messed it up a little bit. Not that we don't need the measurements, but I think we have put some measures in place that have taken away both the authority and the responsibility sometimes of that person on the ground who's delivering that curriculum. And I think it's impeding our progress. I think we've made some progress in some areas, but collectively, I don't think anybody's given Tennessee education an A, and we need an A.
A lot of people lost their minds over Penny Schwinn.
Yes.
And what would you look for in an education commissioner?
I think it has to be somebody that's been in a classroom and understands it. Ideally, that person has not only been in a classroom, but been in leadership roles in the school, whether that's a director or a principal or something. I think we have lots of good principals in the state of Tennessee they would bring a whole new fresh face to what we've done in the Tennessee Department of Education.
Do they have to be from Tennessee?
I think that should be, and all our commissioners, that ought to be the first place we look. Okay. I think that it's unnecessary to go outside and recruit folks because oftentimes they don't bring our set of Tennessee values in with them. So I think that's tremendously important.
Governor Lee, of course, bringing in the National Guard into Memphis to try and curb the crime there. That along with other federal and state agencies that comprise the Memphis Safe Task Force. If you became governor, would you continue down that road? Were you happy with what Governor Lee did? Would you do anything different?
I would do a few things different. I am happy we did that. I will be honest with you. I'm going to give President Trump more credit than I do Governor Lee. I think there was a failure to act for a long time, and we waited on someone who had the guts to take it on. And while the audience may not always agree with everything President Trump does or doesn't do, I don't think any of us do. Some of the panders, some of the ring kissers do. But I mean, we should have acted long before this.
I agree. I agree. I actually said, why didn't we not do this years ago?
And we had the authority, Article 3, Section 5 authority. Crime is rampant. We had the authority to do that. So I'd do that a little bit differently. I think the governor ought to act like he's in charge. And secondly, one of the things I think has led to all of the violence in Memphis, several things, several contributing factors. But one is we have, even under Republican leadership, have tried to influence people not to be able to protect themselves. We've attacked the Second Amendment all across the state. We continue to attack the Second Amendment. I think that the well-armed, law-abiding public is the best deterrent to the predatory criminal. And the leadership in Nashville, or lack thereof, has led them to a place where people are intimidated about protecting themselves. So the predatory criminal knows that they have willing victims. I think that's number one. I think secondly, there's a corruption aspect. And we cannot keep the National Guard in Memphis forever. We cannot. If we concede to ourselves that we have to have this large force of people there to maintain it, something else is miserably broken. And we've got to address, I think, what those are. And some of those, quite honestly, we've allowed a broken family to develop, not just in Shelby County, but all across America and all across Tennessee. Part of the reason that I did our prayer resolution in 2024 is after sitting in several meetings, some with Governor Lee and others, I realized that legislatively and budgetarily, we were slapping Band-Aids on things where we needed a move of God. I think there's a move for repentance in the state of Tennessee that is needed, because I think we see a retraction of God's blessing on our state.
725 on Super Talk 99.7. More with Monty Fritts coming up. Joan's got the news at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, President Trump's triumphal arch. What's next as he tries to complete this construction project? It's coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here for my friends at the Covered Patio. Warmer weather means you want to spend more time outside. If you want to add more living space to your home, think about building or upgrading your patio. Now, at the Covered Patio, they've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade. So your back screened in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. They've got a ton of outdoor living options at the Covered Patio with motorized screens, patio covers, custom wooden decks, and outdoor structures as well. They've got a ton of options with styles for every budget. The Covered Patio is dedicated to fair prices and customized solutions for your specific home and your specific space. So enjoy your home. A lot more with an incredible patio upgrade from the Covered Patio. Reach out to them, 615-695-2407, 615-695-2407. Well, as always, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out online, thecoveredpatio.com, thecoveredpatio.com. You know, with America turning 250 years old this year, it makes me appreciate veterans organizations even more, like the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. Now, these folks are great Americans who have been crucial in helping our military veterans acclimate to life back home after multiple deployments. You know, our men and women of the military need the support that the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project provides. And now they're protecting our first responders. with a brand new partnership with Shield 616. Right now, they're providing life-saving body armor for the Wilson County Sheriff's Department. These advanced ballistic vests will provide protection to first responders as they are protecting you. So give to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project today. They do so much great work, but as much work as they've done to help veterans and first responders, there's still a lot more to be done. Find them online and give today at charliedanielsjourneyhomeproject.org. That's charliedanielsjourneyhomeproject.org. Learn more and donate to the veterans and to the first responders.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And U.S. military forces have launched a new round of attacks on Iran, striking dozens of targets, including air defenses and radar sites near the Strait of Hormuz. Trey Yingst at Fox News reporting President Trump wants Iran to get serious about peace negotiations.
But ultimately, if the Iranians are unwilling to give up their nuclear ambitions, open the Strait of Hormuz, and de-escalate across the region, President Trump says they're going to get hit with additional strikes. He even told me if they don't sign the deal on the table tonight, he will bomb the S out of them. And so it gives you a sense of the president's mindset right now. And if the Iranians are unwilling to make those concessions, then ultimately we are looking at more days of military action ahead.
And Iran's foreign ministry claiming the attacks effectively rendered the April 8th ceasefire meaningless. Other news of the day, a new warning about lithium-ion batteries. A Spring Hill man telling News 2's Andy Cordan about a scary incident at his home.
After hearing a small explosion, Joseph Acapenti opens his garage door, only to see his remote control airplane battery burning like an 1800-degree flare.
Flames were just shooting out from where the batteries were. It wasn't like a campfire glow. It was shooting out almost like at the back of a jet engine or a flare.
Well, luckily, his family got out of the house, called 911. Spring Hill Fire Chief Craig Temple telling News 2 you should never leave your batteries plugged in and charged. President Trump's triumphal arch planned for Washington, D.C. will be completed by the time he leaves office, according to the National Park Service, which says construction will take place 20 hours a day for the next 2 to 3 years. That project, like the ballroom, golf course renovations, and the UFC event, is being challenged in federal court. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mandis here, and the Glock store is always there when you need them for guns, ammo, accessories, training, and Father's Day. Now, it is coming up. And if you've got a gun-loving dad, think about a gift certificate for Father's Day. You could get it in any denomination or for a specific activity, like a 1-hour range session with a private instructor, including a gun rental, so Dad can try some of the latest and greatest Glocks like the Gen 6, the latest red dot optics, and suppressors like Dead Air and Surefire. Now, don't forget, the Glock store is famous for their training and their world-famous Shoot 270 indoor ranges. These aren't like any other ranges in America. No, you can go in, you can practice shooting around corners, in the dark, you name it. This is real-life training only at the world-famous Glock store. And you can pay for that training with the Glock store gift card. That is my Dad's Day gift of choice, and I guarantee that your dad is going to love it. The Glock store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Find them online anytime, shoot270.com and glockstore.com. As always, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out.
So they're still working on that accident on 840 eastbound past Paytonsville Trinity Road. The left lane's still blocked off by it. That accident may be in the median. Pretty slow this morning, heavy and slow on 65 north all the way from Franklin in. Also 24 west from Laverne all the way in. You've got big delays at the merge of 65 and 24 coming in from the north as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
738 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here with Monty Fritts in studio. He wants to be your next governor. So, retracing a little bit, Monty, you were talking about how you are not satisfied with where the state of Tennessee is on the Second Amendment. So, in a perfect world, if Monty Fritts was in charge of the Second Amendment in the state of Tennessee, put the state legislature, just onto the side, what would you want?
Shall not be infringed. We offered legislation this past year, House Bill 2514, and it was a bill similar had carried the year before, where the governor's people came into our office. Happened to be me, John Harris, and Richard Archie, both TFA folks. And when the governor's person come into office, she said, Representative Fritts, I speak for the governor, and we philosophically oppose your piece of legislation. My reply to that was, my reply to all the bureaucrats in Nashville is this: you don't get to be philosophical, you get to be constitutional. And so they fight that kind of thing pretty hard. I usually
when you say shall not be infringed. So for people that don't know what that means, let put that in layman's terms.
Current Tennessee law. So we as Americans and Tennesseans think that we're innocent until proven guilty. Under Tennessee firearms law, because of the intent to go armed phrasing, you're actually committing a crime by carrying a firearm, and you have to have a defense against that criminality. So whether it's open carry or whether it's a concealed carry permit, it is from a 1989 law that the Democrats put in then to carry a long gun with ammunition within arm's reach in the back window of your truck. Not many people do that anymore, right? But if you're not going hunting, to the range, to the shop, etc., it's a crime in Tennessee. I just think that's crazy. And I'm not advocating for everybody to carry the 30-30s down the street. That'd be stupid when you could carry a Glock. But for the government to say, or Smith, I'm a big Smith fan now too. But for
we're fans of the Glock store on this station. Just
I am too. I was there a couple weeks ago.
I've ordered parts. Yeah,
it was great. It was
great. Love the Glock store.
Yeah, I'm a big Glock store fan. I've got a bunch of Glocks. Since Smith moved into the state, I've tried some of their auto loaders, and I like them awfully well as well. But anyways, when we send our kids off to Young Americans for Liberty, got all over this for this 2514 bill that I'm referring to, and they traveled 3 or 4 weeks in a row to testify on behalf of campus carry. Because I think there's nothing in the Constitution that precludes that 6'4", 220-pound linebacker, or that 5'1", 98-pound gonna be a registered nurse from defending themselves, from protecting themselves on our college campuses. Yet we deprive them of that right. Campus carry in the young generation is a big thing. It's a big thing to me. I don't have any kids in college. My sons are 39 and 40, which is a depressing thing to think about that when you have kids that are 40 years old. But that's important. Yeah. It's important to stand up for those. And if we cede to the government, and we have the authority to disarm us, then we have defeated the intent of our founders. And we have increased criminality. It is a proven fact that gun-free zones, which is another part of this legislation I'm talking about, that 95%, 96% of all mass killings occurred in the last 50 years in gun-free zones.
Not shocking.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I mean, people who are, and I don't want to get sidetracked, but people who are Second Amendment supporters, regardless as to the degree, I think we could all agree that gun-free zones are just dumb.
They are.
They are just dumb. Yeah. Anything else you want to say on 2A before we move on? I know that you were not a big fan of the Starbucks deal. Anything else on 2A?
No, I think that's enough. Just we shall not be infringed. It's important for us to, our Declaration of Independence, which is the anchor for our Constitution, U.S., our Bill of Rights, everything. It says, that we've been endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. That means our rights come from God. I hold that to be true. And that, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then it says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. It's not to recruit Starbucks here. It's not for economic things. All those things come, but you have to secure the rights of the people first. And I think when we are taxing folks on their groceries, which I've tried for 4 years to remove that grocery, or 3 years to remove that 4% grocery sales tax, and I intend to do so as governor. when we're taxing folks on the groceries they buy and then providing corporate welfare to a Starbucks, to a Ford, and it's not popular to say that here, but to build a Titan Stadium, to build a Smoky Stadium in Knoxville.
It's actually very popular to say on this station.
Okay.
It's all good. We weren't real fans of the Titans deal. Some of us were not real big fans of the deal.
I throw the thing in East Tennessee, it's wrong anywhere. It's not just here in Nashville. Corporate welfare is a wrong-headed thing.
Okay, so let me ask you, though. Corporate welfare, and I realize that is that's a sort of like a buzz phrase, but is there anything to be said about an investment? Like the folks in the Lee administration will say, in exchange for $30 million in incentives, we end up with hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, real estate investment, jobs for Tennesseans, et cetera. Do you think that there is, one person's corporate welfare is another person's? It's a great investment.
Yeah, I think many people argue that. I think the greatest draw for people to move here to live or for companies to come here is going to be liberty and less government. I think that companies are fleeing Washington State because of overregulation and too much tax. And I think that if we condition our companies coming in to stick their hand out and the taxpayers will put a dollar in, they'll continue to do that. It happened on the House floor just this year. And I thought it was interesting. Representative White from Shelby County, good friend, great man, but he had put forth a bill that's going to provide several $1 million to FedEx. FedEx is a good Tennessee company that's been here.
Yep.
As Mark explained that through, just paraphrase, he said, hey, we provide help to companies to come in. We ought to help good Tennessee companies. And I was so proud of Ryan Williams, who's a representative from Putnam County and one of the budget chairs. He stood up in opposition to it and said it's corporate welfare. And so, I'm glad people are starting to listen. When I talk about this, it makes some of my colleagues nervous, and they offer, when I talked about the budget growth that in the first 6 years of Governor Lee, from $37.5 billion in Haslam's last budget to Governor Lee's last year's budget of 59% growth. When you tell people that and they start to do the math on how much our budget's grown in Tennessee, and yet our infrastructure is depleted, I'm thinking maybe we shouldn't put $30 million in Starbucks. Maybe we ought to do a better job of managing the roads and water supply. TVA put out a letter 2 weeks ago that says that we are 70% of the Tennessee River Valley watershed is under a severe drought condition, highest in 40 years. And 40% of the Tennessee River Valley watershed is an extreme level. And so that gets into all these things like data centers and all. Why would we use more water? And, we're having the discussion right now. How do we help the Duck River? So many people have moved in. We're depleting it. And so there are those that want to pipe water from the Tennessee River to the Duck. Well, if we're already at that 40-year low, is that the best plan? To rob Peter to pay Paul? Proverbially with that. TVA also, in a meeting last week, if I got the numbers right, they said in 152 years of measuring drought conditions in Tennessee, in the River Valley, Tennessee River Valley, that this is the fourth worst year. That should get our attention. That's screaming our attention for lots of things, Dan.
Yeah.
And so shouldn't we be making investments in those kinds of things rather than bringing Starbucks in and a broke Seattle culture?
And that brings up data centers, which we're going to talk about coming up. It is 7:46. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as weather for today, sunny this morning, cloudy this afternoon, high of 95, feels like 103. Monty Fritts is joining us. He wants to be your next governor. So data centers, there's data centers, of course, popping up all over the state of Tennessee. Now, right now, the current controversy is they want to put one right next to the zoo. How do you feel about that? A lot of people losing their minds over that, both left and right. But overall speaking, you're talking about the drought, and we all know that water, data centers use a lot of water. So do you think that Governor Lee and the state of Tennessee, the policy on data centers? Do we need to welcome them in more? Do we need to sort of try to take a step back? What do you think?
I think a couple things. First, this governor will spend $0 Tennessee dollars in recruiting them to come in because it's corporate welfare. And
you say this governor meaning you?
Me,
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Fritts. I think we've already talked about the deficiency of kilowatts that we have in the state. And to bring in a high energy user is going to make your residential and commercial rates go up because it's the whole supply and demand thing. Even if they bring in the power, which we passed a bill this year for some of the data centers, they'd have to bring in some of their own electricity, which could be a good thing. Then you have the water issue. If we close loop the water and we can guarantee in their authorization basis that they're not going to be a constant drain or pollution source, we still don't understand, I think, the frequency field that a storage of that kind of data is going to generate. I don't think we understand that. And I got to tell you, from a moral, philosophical perspective, just, I was getting on some of the folks for being philosophical. I think God gave me and you the in my case, 2 brain cells to solve big problems, right? And I think that he wants us to develop tools and use that ingenuity that he put in us to have supercomputing and things like that. But I've said this to our Tennessee Board of Regents. I've said this to Mr. McWhorter with ECD.
Stuart McWhorter.
Yeah, yes, Stuart, great guy. But I've said that AI is happening to us and not for us. We need to reset that paradigm. And so I think that's a very basic way to look at it. And it can't happen to us. It's got to happen for us. So if, I don't have any problem with using supercomputing to solve problems. But if we relinquish our God-given ability to solve problems to a system or a machine, it is going to be of great detriment to posterity. And we need to think that way. We're all kind of caught up in the buzz of this now. I think it's good for us to pause. I know that, like the Knoxville mayor, who I don't agree with on many things, but she's talking about doing a 1-year moratorium. I'm fully supportive of the counties doing that and saying we don't want them in our counties. I think that autonomy amongst our communities is important in their decision-making to come together. Many people have lots of concerns about it. I don't think we know what it's going to do to not only our wildlife and our zoos and our farmland, but what's it going to do to us?
Are you concerned, though, about China getting the upper hand on us from an AI perspective?
Perhaps. I think American ingenuity has not been based on supercomputing, just to be honest with you. I'll take you back to 1940, 1941, where with a pencil and paper and a protractor, perhaps, or slide rule, not a protractor, slide rule. We learned to count the generations of neutrons in a nuclear system so that we could determine the K-effective of a nuclear system and maintain a criticality to make energy, right? We did that with what God has blessed us with. And I'm not suggesting we stay with the pencil and paper. I'm just saying that I think sometimes things become the fad. We saw this with electric cars, and I have hybrids. I don't have any, I'd love to own a Tesla. My wife has told me no more vehicles. She says I have a hoarding problem with guns, motorcycles, and cars. I'm not allowed to buy anything.
It's kind of expensive there, Monty.
It is, but it's fun.
Okay.
But we went through that fad with electric, and even major U.S. corporations were just chasing something that wasn't going to work. And I see a little bit of that in the AI data centers. Right. And last thing.
Yes.
I don't want all my data stored forever. We volunteer that with these cell phones.
Yeah.
And I get it, but do we want every word, every movement, and every expenditure tracked and kept to be used against us at some point in time? I say resoundingly no.
Okay, coming up, a lot of people want to know about the pot question. So, final moments with Monty Fritts coming up next, 7:52. Joan, was coming up in the news at 8.
Yeah, coming up here, a Cheatham County deputy arrested. He may lose his job, too. We'll tell you what's behind that story coming up at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
757 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right. I got 3 questions left for Monty. 2 from yours truly, Monty Fritts. 1 from Joan Jones. Real quick, 5895 on the super text line, Monty, is asking about property values. And the exact question is, he says, why don't you property values in Tennessee being some of the most overestimated in the country? I don't know if that's true. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. And if he has any solutions, older people cannot afford their property taxes anymore. They are doubling and tripling. I mean, property taxes is a big deal.
It is a problem. And so we tried a property tax reform this past year in the legislative session. It did 2 things. One is it ended the taxation against unrealized capital gains, which is what we're doing now because of the appraisals. It put a point in the ground at 2020 or what you've paid for that property since, and basically ended the residential appraisals for that, which I think is a good thing, and it makes it much more transparent and none of this shell game that we have on rates and stuff with the next year net neutral. And secondly, it would have prevented government from evicting a citizen from their residence because of delinquency in property taxes. I think to be able to kick an old person or a young person out of their house because they're 2 years behind on property taxes is immoral.
Yeah.
We need to fix that in Tennessee. I intend to try to fix that as governor. I've tried as a state rep to do that. And it's not going to cost the assessors any money what I had offered. It's the revenue is what it is today and would have stayed that way. But again, we need to fix those 2 things. So I'm focused on that.
Let's talk about medicinal marijuana. I know, and then you're next, Joan.
Okay.
You hear Joan wanted to jump in.
Come on.
But medicinal marijuana, I know that this has been discussed quite a bit, which is why I actually wasn't even going to cover it, but people are asking about it. So,
I think that we owe it to our people suffering from epilepsy and people suffering from cancer or pain treatments or whatever, and to our veterans. I hear a lot from the veteran community.
No, you're in the Army, right? So you can relate to them.
Yes, sir. I can. And while that's not a choice I'm necessarily interested in, I think 3 conditions I think have to exist to develop a good policy for this. And Chris asked me some time ago, he said, if the law come forward, would I veto it or pass it? I said, I want to lead the way and get good policy in place. Get Big Pharma out of the discussion. They cannot be trusted, nor the people who take money from them. They can't be trusted because they'll synthesize the access to a natural form to make it more addictive. So we have to get them out of the discussion. I think the Colorado pothead lobby has to be. That's my term. I think
Colorado pothead lobby.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think equally there's a group of people that just want to keep Tennesseans stoned and make themselves wealthy, and I think they don't need a seat at the table. I think that the people in government that want to tell you things are bad, and then tax the smack out of you to get access to them, we need to exclude those people. But we need good doctors that understand. We need veterans. We need pain sufferers. We need Tennesseans at the table. Let's develop the policy and have something that we can offer, that we don't increase an addictive state, and that we don't fuel big tax revenues in the pockets of Big Pharma. Let's give a natural option for those people, let them exercise their liberty, and I think that's the right thing to do.
The thing that I don't understand, Joan, clearly we're not going to do your news, but we will get, I'm going to do your question, but clearly the problem is the state legislature. Like I'm so frustrated with those folks, and then, they're great, I mean, whatever, but there's one issue here in Tennessee, and I know a lot of conservatives, and it is astonishing to me how many conservatives who want medicinal and the state legislature and the governor simply won't do it, and it is frustrating to me.
I think it's frustrating. I think part of that, you have too many weak males in politics, that they're afraid to step out on a topic that might cost them $1 or a vote. I think if you just do the right thing and really not care, if you feel called to run for office rather than you just always wanted to be something, it changes the perspective. I can be fully transparent and say what I think. Sometimes that offends the smack out of people. I never offer it to be bad and just in truth and love and straightforward. But, it's a liberating position for me to feel like I'm called to run because I can tell you exactly what I think sincerely. And if you don't vote for me, I'm still going to love you. if you do vote for me, I'm going to ask you to pray for me after I win, because it's going to be a tough job to recalibrate some of the things that are headed the wrong way in Tennessee.
John?
Okay, so first, thanks for being here. And secondly, you've spoken out against Sharia law in the state of Tennessee. Do you feel that Tennessee is endangered by Sharia law? And as governor, what would legislation about it look like?
Did you? Oh, you know what?
Oh, he can't hear me?
I couldn't hear.
He's not wearing headphones. Doggone it. And I can't do it justice. That's I've only been doing this for over 40 years. I would have.
Wow.
I look up and Monty's looking at me like.
I'm wondering, where's my answer?
I thought, oh God, Jones stumped him.
Yeah, I thought so too. All right, can you hear me now?
Hey, Monty. No, hold on one second.
Okay.
Hold on. This is.
How about you just turn off your mic and let it?
No, he's. Can you speak, Joan?
Okay, can you hear me now?
He's got you. Go ahead.
Okay, I feel like the Verizon commercial.
That's funny, actually.
Thank you so much for being here and appreciate it. So you've spoken out against Sharia law in the state of Tennessee. Do you feel that Tennessee is endangered by Sharia law? And as a governor, what would legislation about it look like?
So first, I think Sharia law is incongruent with the Tennessee and U.S. Constitution and has no place here, and I'll fight it at every inch to prevent it. You'll see a letter from me coming out, just went to the governor this week as a state rep, encouraging him to declare some of these organizations like CARE and Muslim Brotherhood as terrorist organizations in the state of Tennessee, like a couple other states have done. I think it's important that we make a clear statement that we're not going to allow our culture, our Christian heritage culture, to be overtaken by this pagan ideology. And I know that those words kind of sting people, but yes, we're going to push back against that. There is an active effort of Islamization in America and in Tennessee, and I think we've got to push back on that from many fronts, and financing is one of those fronts. And so we're going to have to take that on, Ms. Jones. Thank you for that hard question.
Yep, you bet. It's something I think a lot of people think about.
Yes.
And your speaking out about it is a breath of fresh air to a lot of people.
Well, I have Muslim friends, so let me say this.
Absolutely.
And I love the people. God, he loved them so much, he sent his son to die for them on a cross, just like me. It wasn't just the Baptist. It was every human being on the face of the earth. But we cannot allow those polluted ideologies to come in. And this whole red-green alliance, I'm a John Birch Society member. I hate communism. I'll be happy to tell you that. But there is an active red-green alliance that is trying to bring down the United States of America. We sometimes get so caught up in our weak policies on things and the fact that somebody may be giving us money that we're not willing to take those things on. Another liberating thing about not being PAC funded is they don't get to tell me what to think.
Yeah. Well, I love it.
You look at what is going on in Europe, for example.
Yes.
You got the no-go zones. You got we all know what's happening in Europe with the grooming gangs and the random stabbings. It's just awful. The beheadings that are happening in some of these places.
Unacceptable. And I will tell you, friends,
horrifying.
Just to allow a foreign flag by someone who's adversarial to my Constitution and my country, I'm not tolerant at all of that foreign flag coming up under those ideologies. They've become enemies.
Yeah.
And whether this administration has the courage to declare them as such, I can assure you the Fritts administration will.
All right, so I think I've gotten all the questions out that I wanted to. Monty, thank you for joining us. You have an event coming up. I know that you're all over the state, and you've got an event coming up Monday, June 22nd. It's Kathy Hinner's event, as a matter of fact. Kathy Hinner's is a big friend of the show. The event is Nook on Jackson Street in Tullahoma.
The Event Nook. The Event Nook.
The Event Nook.
On Jackson Street in Tullahoma.
Okay, 9 to 11 a.m.
Yes, we have 3 and 4 events just about every day, Monday through Saturday. I try not to do anything on Sundays other than go to church and rest and do whatever my wife tells me to do.
Mm-hmm. Good man.
I have got a huge hole to dig out of there. This whole politics thing is cutting into just grandkid time and quality time with the wife. And I am married to the best woman in the world. Anything good about me, God has used her to try to shape it into me. And she's been such a stalwart partner in everything, from going to war and, when I re-enlisted in the Army in 2003 and going back to school as a student, and now this. And I got to tell you, this is the heaviest burden I've ever carried. I've been shot at. I've found IEDs, if you will. And this is the heaviest burden I've ever carried. I say this to people from time to time, and they laugh at me when I say it. I think I'm the break glass in case of emergency candidate for governor in the state of Tennessee, because I think we have an emergency, and I'm asking people to break the glass and pull the lever for Fritts.
When you talk about how much of a burden it is, it's because of the travel. I mean, you're going all across the state.
Well, it's travel, and that's fun. You get to meet people and see all the things that you get. If somebody asked me what my day looked like the other day, I said a windshield and a lectern. But I miss time with my grandkids. I miss time with my sons. I miss time with my wife. I'm not active in my church as I need to be, and some of the things that we have a recovery thing, and I haven't been able to make one of those because of this, and this is supposed to be service and sacrifice. So that's not a whine. It's just, I don't know why anybody would choose this, Dan. If they didn't feel called of God to do it, I don't know why anybody would just say, I want to do this.
Well, you're right. First of all, WWTN Hendersonville, Nashville. So I asked you off the air because you're a really smart guy. And we talked about that earlier, but it's sort of like you're clearly somebody who your life has been based on service. You joined the military. Now you want to do this. Why is it that you want to be a politician?
I detest politicians. I don't want to be a politician. I do want to be a public servant. I want to serve the people of the state of Tennessee. I don't want to run for office again. I term limited myself to do 4 years in the General Assembly. I thought I could pass some things. We did. We've probably 4, 5, 6 things that nobody else in the country's ever done, and we've gotten a chance to do those. From geoengineering to marriage to illegals, things that we've, God's given us victories on. But I do feel called to do this. There's an old church term of having a burden on your heart. And it's just like every time I turned around, I was just thinking, what's going to happen with my grandkids and this person's kids and grandkids? And then, I'm having people come to me and say things, and I hope I don't wig your audience out, but they're coming to me and they're like, hey, I think I got a word from God on you. I'm a Southern Baptist. I'm actually a Southern Baptist Pentecostal. I'm that fringe element of the convention that's,
Mm-hmm.
But my goodness. So we prayed about this. I prayed about this for probably 8-10 months steady, and I didn't want to do this. I feel called to do it.
Do you watch the polling?
I think most polls are propaganda. I think they poll the people they want to get the answer. It's like these silly straw polls that they do at some of these events where one of the candidates will buy 30 of the 32 tables and pay people to be there to vote so they feel good about winning it. I think some of that's with the standard poll. And Dan told me this morning he'd done a poll, and I think just asking people if there's a way to do it's the best way. We won a poll like that in Memphis with my buddy Todd Starnes. He put something out on his show. And
Todd's a friend of the show.
Yeah, and it's so I keep up with it, but I'm just going to keep working 12, 16 hours a day. We got into Nashville last night about 2:00 to get here for this morning. It's an exhausting thing, but thank God he's given this old guy the energy to keep doing it, and we're going to keep doing it.
Well, I hope it was worth it.
It was. I loved it.
All right, very good. Monty Fritts, what is your website? Because we've only touched the surface of all the things that we could talk about. So where can people find out more about your campaign?
Fritts, Fritts, the number 4tn.com. We're on all the social media. If you do get an MONTY, FRITTS, and we're on X and Facebook and Instagram, and you can find out. And we're pretty straightforward on what the messaging and what Tennessee needs.
All right, Monty, thank you very much for coming in, and we have just completely blown out the format. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw traffic to Joan
right
now. So, Joan, what is going on in traffic?
So you've got an accident westbound 24. This is in Rural Hill, a crash at Bell Road. Another one in Antioch on 24 westbound. That one's right at Harding Place. Westbound on I-40. This is in the Gulch area, right at Demumbrian Street, exit 209. There's another crash in that area this morning. And you've got your normal volume delays traveling on 2465 and on 40 heading in. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, if you need a new car, check out my new friends at Mid-10 Ford. They've been around Middle Tennessee for 56 years, building relationships and giving folks like you a no-hassle, low-pressure approach to buying cars. Check out this great deal. Right now, Mid-10 Ford knows, the times are tough. So they're offering you employee pricing, which means that you pay what they pay for a car. That's a pretty good discount at a time when a lot of folks, maybe you, can really use it. Mid-10 Ford is the place to go for you to buy your new car or truck, and where you can go to get it serviced as well. You know, they've even got a body shop at Mid-10 Ford. It is literally a one-stop shop for all things Ford cars and trucks. Mid-10 Ford has you covered, and they have been since 1969. Check them out online, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. You can even go to their website and shop online, mid10fordtrucks.com. $8:15 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Has Joan let Monty Fritts go yet?
I did.
Because Joan, the man, had to not only go to the bathroom, but they were threatening to tow him.
Oh.
Out from the front of the radio station because he stayed a little bit later.
Well, I thought it was because he was making too many good points.
Dan, I have to say that you're such a good interviewer. That was an excellent interview.
No, thank you.
And the John Rose one was as well. You asked good questions. You know the issues. It was very good. And I think watching the super text line, a lot of the listeners really appreciated it.
Can't wait till Marsha Blackburn comes in. 8:16 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so our clock is just way off. So what am I doing here, Sam?
Yeah, we're going to have 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll tease out to news and go to 8:30 news.
So apparently Donald Trump is threatening to hit Iran very hard and take Karg Island. Now, if you folks don't remember what Karg Island, now we got to go back a ways, but I love that Donald Trump is finally getting aggressive. So if he takes Karg Island, we got to make sure that he does not destroy Karg Island. So But the problem is, and for people who don't know what Karg Island is like this. It's an island where Iran, that's where they process and then export their oil. And so if we take Karg Island, we basically take away Iran's ability to export oil even more than we already have. Now, if we ultimately end up doing that, then we've got to make sure that we don't destroy Karg Island, because if we destroy Karg Island, that island, and Joan, I think you and I spoke about this a long time ago, Karg Island is from an oil, producing and refining and exporting standpoint, it is so incredibly complicated, and it's taken like years and years and years to build. We don't want to destroy Karg Island, because if we destroy Karg Island, then that would impact the world's oil supply, which means that we would still have higher gasoline prices, which we don't want to do that. So we take it. The problem is, and there's been a lot of people that have said this, it's not just me, Karg Island, that is a very dangerous situation for our men and women in uniform, because they're kind of like in a fishbowl kind of a thing. So I guess I don't mind if we take Karg Island. I understand the strategy behind it. If we end up taking Karg Island, awesome. If that's what we want to do, we just have to do it the right way. So do you know, where did he say this, Joan? Was this in like an interview? Is he on Truth Social this morning?
President Trump?
Yeah, where did he say that he's talking about taking Karg Island and all that?
He was on Fox News this morning while Monty was here. So I recorded it, and I found some stuff on the internet that to be able to use, but that's where he was talking about it. He called in this morning while they were on the sofa, and so they were talking about it. Hopefully I'll have more of that coming up. It's, you have to go through everything that he says to pull out the right pieces of audio.
I've got a little, just kind of, we're kind of, we need, Sam, instead of all of those little drops that mock me, what we actually could use is a tap dancing sound effect, because that's what we're doing right now.
Tap, yeah.
But this was President Trump announcing tonight's bombing campaign against Iran will be even bigger than last night. This was posted about 10 minutes ago.
There will be more bombing tonight. It'll be bigger, more powerful. Don't forget, we've knocked out all of their anti-aircraft. They don't have they have nothing. I mean, they may get lucky with a shoulder weapon or something, but for the most part, they have no defense.
What did the representative say in your phone call with them?
Excuse me. They're finished. But the papers, the media refuses to write it. They're finished. We can walk in there tomorrow. We could take soldiers. I don't want to have boots on the ground, but if I wanted to, we could put a small group of soldiers and take over the whole place. They're finished. And the media is crooked. They're just like our elections. The media is crooked.
There you go.
Wow.
Joan, I think that when people interrupt me, I'm just going to have to start saying, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Like Donald Trump does. You know what I mean? You ever done that? Like, Trump, I've noticed that Trump does that.
Yeah. Well, when he wants to make a point. I mean, don't interrupt him when he's making a point.
Donald Trump is one man you don't want to interrupt.
No.
I still think Maxine Waters got a pretty good one, though. I'm reclaiming my time.
Yeah. There's one woman we don't want to hear from, is Maxine Waters.
No.
President, thanks so much.
Let's see here. So that was President Trump, and I'm trying to see if there's any other good pieces of audio that we can run.
He said,
let's see here.
At one point he said, we have Iran in the ultimate position. He warns that Iran will be taking Karg Island. That's the soundbite that I want to.
Oh, yeah, that's I would love to find that. Well, let's do this. Okay. You know what? I've got you want to just do a 2-minute soundbite? Like, we'll just stop and start?
Yeah.
Apparently, this is Donald Trump talking about Karg Island, and I just kind of explained, Joe, and I think you were listening to audio, but I just kind of explained the complexities of Karg Island.
Oh, yeah.
But because it is complex, because we can't destroy it, because if we destroy it, then we interrupt the world's oil supply, which would lead to higher gasoline prices. Also, we've got to be very careful because Karg Island, from what I understand, our men and women in uniform would be in a fishbowl. So we just have to be very careful. This is Donald Trump and...
From going through in the Gulf of Oman after the crew repeatedly failed to comply with directions.
And our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yinks, is live and
Oh, no, that's not what I thought it was. Let's see here. Okay, Donald Trump, apparently he said it on True Social. Here's what he said. The United States will be hitting Iran, whose Navy, Air Force, radar, anti-aircraft, and all the other forms of defense, together with most of its offensive capacity, are gone very hard tonight. He says at some point in the not-too-distant future, we will be taking Karg Island and other oil infrastructure points and assume total control of their oil and gas markets, much like we have with Venezuela, which is working out brilliantly for both Venezuela and the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So President Trump is not only talking about taking Karg Island, he is talking about taking all of Iran's oil infrastructure. Thank you. Tap dancing. Timing is everything, Sam. Appreciate it, though. I don't know. You know what? Hey, you want to do a Daily Dan poll? Should Donald Trump try to take over Karg Island and basically abscond with all of Iran's oil? Oh, you know what's going to happen? Kill the sound effect. You know what's going to happen, though, Joan?
What's that?
Then we're going to start to hear all of the chants about no blood for oil.
Oh, yes.
You know that's going to come, right?
Yes.
Anyway, so there you go. So I don't know if you heard that, but he said it on True Social, and he's saying that we're going to take over all of Iran's oil in the not-so-distant future. He also said, thanks for your attention to this matter. It is 8:23 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. All right, Joan, what is coming up at the news at 8:30?
All right, so we're going to use the 8 o'clock news for 8:30, right? Because we already wrote that.
Mm-hmm.
The story about the Cheatham County deputy that's been arrested. We'll tell you what's happening there. It's coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Heading out on vacation here in the next couple of days. Got to tell you, there was a time in my life when there was no way that I was looking forward to really long walks on the beach because, well, my body was riddled with pain. That's right, for years I suffered from back pain. These days, though, not so much because of the time that I spent at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They helped me, and they can help you as well. And they've got an epic new way to get you back in the game this summer. They're all about the latest technology, and these days, Dr. Kevin Mitchell from the Wellness Institute of Nashville has developed a brand new machine called Medical Bay One. It uses a combination of full body lasers and red light technology with stem cell stimulations to massage your body back to its full potential. They can help you like they've helped so many people across Middle Tennessee. So you can enjoy your summer without the constant and nagging pain that you've been living with for so long. It's epic. Medical Bay One. They say that it's like a medical bay on a spaceship like Artemis. So launch your pain-free voyage today. You call them, you mention my name, you get $33 off of each session. 615-246-5009 is the phone number. 615-246-5009. Online anytime, painisbad.com, painisbad.com. Man, that heat yesterday was insane. Felt like over 100 degrees. I don't know about you, but I used my air conditioning as I often do. And I got to tell you, ever since I started using Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling over a decade ago, I've never had a problem with my air conditioner. This is a great HVAC company. They want to help you as well. One of the things that I do is I take advantage of their Beehive Club. So I save money over the long term by maintaining my HVAC along the way. Check it out at busybeehvac.com. I also like that just about every summer they like to send somebody to the beach, and that person could be you. Right now, you buy any new home AC unit this June, you are qualified to win win a free 3-day beach getaway. Busy Bee pays for your gas, your lodging, and a couple of meals a day. Find them online, busybeehvac.com. You can get all the details on the contest there. Tell them Dan Mendes told you to reach out, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Good morning. It's now 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. In U.S. Military Central Command saying the latest round of airstrikes against Iran have been completed. ABC defense analyst Mick Mulroy.
Very intense, but limited, with the idea of getting Iran back to the negotiation table in a more serious manner. Because as the president said, it wasn't going anywhere. From the Iranian side, they're saying this is going to get them further away from that table. So we'll have to see what actually happens.
Iran announced that they closed the Strait of Hormuz in response to the strikes, but the U.S. says that's not true. The strait is still being guarded by the U.S. Crime news, police in Ohio identifying the suspect in the shooting that injured 12 people at a festival in Toledo on Sunday. They don't have 20-year-old Kanai Taylor in custody yet. Police say the incident was a shootout between two rival gangs. In Mississippi, two brothers charged in the shooting of a sheriff's deputy during a traffic stop have been denied bail. They are 18 and 19 years old. Cordovayan and Cortavius Hobbs charged with attempted capital murder. And a Cheatham County deputy arrested, then placed on leave after a reported domestic assault. Here's News 2's Haley Walgus.
Greg Darius James was arrested last night in Clarksville. Police say he strangled his girlfriend after she told him to leave during an argument.
James' first court date is on June 26th. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We've got stocks starting off nicely this morning. Dow Jones Industrials 269 right now. The NASDAQ up 91 at the start, and the S&P 500 index running 23 points higher. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 832 Super Talk 99.7 Window Nation. Listen, if your air conditioner never seems to be turning off, or maybe your electricity bills have gone up big time, you've got to check out my friends at Window Nation. The problem actually could be that you don't have energy efficient windows. Window Nation can change that right now. They've got a great deal going on right now. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free sale. Again, that is going on right now. Buy 4 windows, get 4 free. That sale going on now. You could replace all the windows in your home and, yes, get half of them for free. You could also get 0 down payment and no payments or interest for 2 years. Window Nation, this is a great company. A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. 96% customer satisfaction rating and over 45,000 5-star reviews. Now, this sale, it is going to end soon. Window Nation. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free. That sale going on right now. You want to upgrade the windows in your home. You've got to give Window Nation a chance. You also could get 0 down payment and no payments or interest for 2 years. Find them online, windownation.com. That's windownation.com. Window Nation is a proud partner of the Wounded Warrior Project. You know, living in the state of Tennessee as long as I have, I do try to utilize the services of local companies. And you don't get more local than DT McCall's. Now, checking out all the deals over at their website, dtmccalls.com. There's a lot of great deals over there at the website. You can also go in-store as well. But online or in-store, they've got great deals on washer and dryer sets, dishwashers, ovens as well, double ovens as well. They've got rebates available too. You know, when I need an appliance, the first thing that I do is head on over to their website. Usually, I buy right from their website, whether it is a refrigerator or a washer and dryer. I've bought at least a couple of appliances from these folks over the years. I'll be buying more in the future because they do provide the trifecta at DT McCall's. Great prices, great selection in brands, and terrific customer service. DT McCall's, a great company, a great Tennessee company that I've been doing business with for years, and you're going to love them. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online at that website, dtmccalls.com.
.840, the westbound side now before Paytonsville Trinity Road, exit number 34. You've got police activity and stop-and-go traffic from Arno Road, exit 37. Out at the airport, Donaldson Pike at Hanger Lane, you've got a crash there. And in Kingston Springs, I-40 eastbound near Kingston Springs, Ashland City exit, an accident. That one is a car and a deer at exit mile marker. Make that number 184. Also, just be advised, Bonnaroo is on. Exit 111 off I-24 is going to be the official exit being used for festival goers. So you may want to choose another exit to be able to get around the delays that will happen there all day through Sunday. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$8:37. This is Elvis Presley's.
Yeah.
All right. So, Brian, just to let you know that Sam is passively aggressively saying that you're old.
I know he likes Elvis.
Well, no, because usually, Brian, when it's Chris Hand, and you can back me up on this, Joan, usually when it's Chris Hand, he plays some young hipster kind of music. Brian comes on and he's playing music from like 1924.
No, I made a reference on yesterday, about a song that has historical significance in the history of the United States, even though it was released and it was popular, I think, way back in the 1919 World War I era.
It was like 1919.
Yeah, and it was a reference to the fact that we sent all of our troops over to help fight that war, and then the song said, "How will you keep them on the farm once they've seen Gay Paris?" And the thought was, these guys have been overseas, they've seen some things, now they're going to come back, and it was a post-war song, right? So, I made a reference to that politically, saying that, these people who are traveling around the country with going to the World Cup thing, I mean, once they've been to Atlanta, how can they ever go back, to Germany, for example? And because I made a historical reference of which you were blissfully unaware.
Just so Joan was blissfully unaware, and so was Sam. And by the way, I've been to Atlanta. I'd rather be anywhere else.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
I will say, I'm watching, there's a German guy who's here, and he's traveling around the South going to all of these FIFA games. And he's writing about his American experience.
Isn't that
and
fun
mostly
to watch? Yeah.
It's about fast food, really, let's be honest. But his name is Freddie, I think his name is. And Freddie the German found Buc-ee's.
Isn't that so funny?
Yeah, and he was, like everybody else, it's, an eye-popping experience. He said, look at this gas station, which, Buc-ee's is a gas station. I mean, you've never seen a place with more pumps, but it's a lot more than that, and it is a cultural thing. And they're just, they're going to Walmart, they're going to Wendy's, they're doing Taco Bell. They're doing all of the American fast food, and he's just having a great time. And it's sort of fun to watch as he travels through the South, his impressions of the country. They've been very positive, and a lot of other people are here doing that, and they're having a great time as well.
Brian, with all of those fast food restaurants he's hitting, I bet you he's loving the Buc-ee's bathroom.
Oh, yeah. Is there, a better bathroom that you can find than a Buc-ee's bathroom?
Yeah, the Dolly truck stops or the Dolly travel stops.
I haven't been there yet, but I've heard about this. Yeah, it just opened,
yeah, the Dolly travel stops are supposed to be,
Isn't it kind of weird that we'd
to Buc-ee's.
Make a trip just specifically designed to go to the bathroom? Because
there are people who will get in their car and drive to go to Buc-ee's, just for the experience of having gone to Buc-ee's. It is a destination unto itself.
So, Joan, Buc-ee's has the beaver. What will Dolly's have?
Dolly's has, I can't go there. Actually, she said that she's going to have some of her vans, or I guess trucks, with her her sequin costumes and
Her old
things like
tour
that.
bus.
A tour bus, yeah. So you'll be able to go in and tour it and see it for yourself. I mean, honestly, it's a destination. It's not just a place to stop along the highway. It's a destination.
You got to love Dolly, man.
Yeah.
She just, what about, I mean, Tennessee treasure, but national treasure.
Oh,
She really is.
Yeah. All right. So, Brian, real quick, 'cause I've been very busy this morning. I did not get to do all my Graham Plattner audio. So I want to play some audio because I produce this whole segment and I have to use everything that I do. So you know what I'm talking about, though, right, Brian?
Yeah.
Like in the mind of a talk show host, I spent 32 minutes putting all this together, and dadgummit, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, all that effort, you got to come through with a segment on it. That's for sure.
Exactly right. Even when the segments suck. All right, so this is Sarah Hines. All right, so the point is, Brian and Joan, is that I'm wondering if the Democrats are now sort of having Plattner regret, where he is now Graham Plattner, he is now the official nominee for the Democrats' primary there in the state of Maine for the Senate. This is Sarah Hines, and she made news over the last 24 hours because she's talking about how, you know what, this may not have been a good thing for the Democrats.
When you've shown me you have so much hate in your heart that you can literally wipe off full groups of people, and you name it, fill in the blank, he has. That Nazi tattoo that he supposedly has covered up and said he didn't know what it meant, but many ex-girlfriends said he used to proudly call it what it is, a totem cough, which is a Nazi symbol. Yeah. He has shown us who he is. There is no way in my life I could sleep at night turning my face to all of that. And I don't know who can. I wish some of the Democrats would stand up. This was the party of Me Too. Women have made accusations. They have not been proven yet. But weren't we supposed to listen and hear them? Literally, we were in a time of anti-Semitism, the numbers of anti-Semitic hate. And this guy proudly wore a tattoo for years. All the things he's shown us. And we're going to say, well, this time, because we might agree with his policy, we can turn our heads. I cannot turn my head. I hope other people would join me.
It's interesting, Joy Behar not on the panel that day.
Oh, seriously?
But I mean, fact check true with Sarah Hines, as we've all been saying, the Democrats have lost all moral high ground on any topic related to anti-Semitism, white supremacy, the Me Too movement, among many other issues. So have you ever seen a more flawed candidate, Brian?
No, I can't remember a more flawed candidate than this guy, Plattner. I mean, he's a disaster. And, the old saying, my friend Chris Plant used to say it all the time, still does, I guess, that if it weren't for double standards, Democrats would have no standards at all. Can you imagine if a candidate with this kind of baggage had been put forward by the Republican side of the equation? Can you imagine the hue and cry, the howling that would take place?
Oh, yes.
It would be non-ceasing. But oh well, he's a Nazi, but he's our Nazi.
Well, okay. How bad is Graham Plattner? Graham Plattner is so bad that Donald Trump has now endorsed Susan Collins.
But she's a sane person, and she's a person that never missed a vote in many years. I mean, she's had 10,000 votes. She had 10,000 votes. She never missed a vote. Unfortunately, because sometimes she voted against me. Look, she's a sane woman, and she's a respected person. Maybe a little different ideology than me, but this guy is a thug. He's a fake thug. He's a phony. I've made a lot of money picking out phonies. He's a real phony. He's a bad person.
I mean, Donald Trump, he's absolutely right. This was a very bizarre statement that Graham Plattner made, and I thought it was interesting because he actually went on MS Never. Wait, I'm sorry, MS Now. Do you like that? See, Joan laughed.
Like that.
Joan got it.
I may steal that.
Brian, come on, man. You got to give it up for my comedic genius. That's Brian with a sympathy laugh. Sorry. Anyway, but maybe you can make heads or tails out of this, Brian, where Graham Plattner says, oh, there's nothing to see here. Oh, geez. So
did your computer go kaput?
Yeah, something happened. Good Lord. Yep. I've lost Anyway, basically, you know what's so funny, Brian? We were talking just a scant few hours ago about how we don't go a day in this building without something going kaput. And it's actually true. We've had something else go kaput in the studio today. But anyway,
Gremlins are there, huh? Yeah.
They sure are. So, but Graham Plattner actually went on MS Now, and he basically said, yeah, there's nothing in my past that is really worrisome. There's nothing to see here. and you know, what's her name? The Mika Brzezinski was like, well, that kind of sounds a little rich coming from you because of all of the things that we know. And so the Democrats are just, you know, they're really kind of confused about all of this. And I don't know, it's almost like, what would you say? I would say that it's sort of like, gaslighting. It's gaslighting for the Democrats to say there's nothing to see here, even though Graham Plattner himself said that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to do well. I think Susan Collins is going to be reelected. It is interesting. I think the Susan Collins thing, Trump was asked a question. It's a tough question for him because, you know, Susan Collins has voted against him at key moments. She's very, very moderate. You might even call her, left of center on some issues. But she is a card-carrying Republican, and that has value right now because we need enough votes to maintain control of the Senate. So he's going to hold his nose, and he's going to say nice things about Susan Collins, and she's going to get reelected, and Plattner's going to be a thing of the past. I just don't see any way that Plattner can be elected. I gotta be honest, I haven't studied the polls on it, haven't looked at what's going on there, but I just can't imagine that at the end of the day, the good people of Maine are going to elect the Nazi nipple guy. Well, but there's a lot of people, by the way, every time you say Nazi nipple, the 12-year-old in Sam just starts laughing incessantly.
I hear a German accent. My nipple.
Nazi nipple. Anyway. So this is I got it back up again. So this is Graham Plattner. This is what he said on MSNBC.
He's a real phony. He's a bad person.
Here it
you
is.
say there's nothing out there that it could be concerning. And this may seem a little bit rich.
There's nothing out there. I just want to make this clear. There's nothing out there that's actually concerning. People will make everything seem very concerning. Because that's what people do in politics.
So there's nothing out there that's really all that concerning. That would tell me that, number one, he's a liar. Number two, Brian, he's got judgment issues.
Yeah. Well, you got to put lipstick on the pig and go out there. I mean, they've cast their lot. This is their guy. And I don't know. I mean, how do you solve that problem if you decide you want to make a change? How do you go about a change at this late date? I don't know how you do it. Maybe I don't know. I'm just not familiar with the election laws in Maine enough to see a pathway there. But I think this guy is the guy they're going to have to. This is the horse that they are going to be riding out on. And I just don't think a lot of people are going to, in Maine, are going to be able to, overlook some of the really outrageous things. Well, and he really is a thug. I mean, Trump is want to exaggerate at times, but I don't think he's exaggerating. This guy is just a bad person. He's just a thug, and his actions have been reprehensible at times.
So one of the things that they're trying to do is they're trying to say, well, he's just a regular guy, right? So looking at all of the things, I wrote them all down. Posting nasty anti-Semitic rants, posting about bizarre porta potty fetishes, having weird fantasies about raping men, being aggressive and abusive to women, sexting multiple women, not your wife, getting a Nazi tattoo and lying about it, lying about your profession. I mean, I don't know, Joan. That doesn't sound like any regular guy stuff to me. Does that sound like regular guy stuff to you?
No, I've never met a regular guy like that. No, it is just, for me, it is kind of silly. And, okay, Sam, Brian, forgive me. Sam is dying to read some of these
some of these Graham Plattner jokes that he has asked AI apparently to write.
Yeah.
So, Sam, if these are okay for broadcast.
That was part of my prompt.
Okay.
They were FCC safe.
Okay.
But I find it fascinating the things that AI will pull in order to structure these jokes. Plattner's dating history reads like a cautionary tale. Military veteran with PTSD, heavy drinking, and a talent for making women feel like they need their own combat pay. At least the oysters don't file complaints. No?
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
No,
AI humor
really.
has not evolved. Really.
No, maybe the Chinese could do better with their humor with AI. All right, what else? What else there, Sam?
Which AI, did you use?
Was this ChatGPT or was this Grok?
This is Grok.
Okay.
Plattner's redemption arc is impressive, from edgy Reddit warrior dismissing bad nights to charming oyster farmer. Next up, convincing Maine voters that all those exes were just a dark period oyster that didn't pearl outright.
Oh, man. Puns.
Okay, Plattner covered up his old chest tattoo that looked like a Nazi symbol. Classic move. Bury the evidence under new ink, just like he buries old Reddit posts under layers of PTSD made me do it.
That's not really a joke, actually. That's like fact check true.
Well, they're all accurate. That's the point.
Yeah. All right, you get one more. You get one more to redeem yourself, and then we're just
pick your best pick your best option there.
Yeah.
My best option here. Okay. Plattner's campaign slogan should be "From combat zones to oyster beds," because nothing says redemption like filtering out your past mistakes through layers of mud and regret.
Anyway, so I like it's the video here. I like Brian to see what I have to deal with on this show.
I know.
This is what Donald Trump actually. You're talking about Trump. Listen to what Trump said about Plattner.
Because he's just an outright pig. He's like a pig. I watched him a couple of times. He's like a pig. That's what he reminds me of. I come up with good names for people. I don't want to stick him with that one, although I think pigs would be very upset about it.
All right, so Piggy, what do you like, Brian? Piggy Plattner?
Well,
Pig Plattner?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go with alliteration always.
Porky Plattner?
Piggy Pervy Plattner.
Plattner the pig?
You got to throw pervy in there.
Pervy?
Pervy Piggy Plattner.
Pervy Piggy Plattner. We can call him Triple P for short.
All right.
All right, very good. I think we're done with this segment. Thanks, Sam.
Hey.
Okay, good.
There's one we were missing.
Yeah, sure is. All right, Brian, hopefully your show is better than the last 10 minutes of this one. What's coming up?
I'm sure I'll strive to meet your needs. We're going to be talking about Iran. Real quick, just 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What do you think about this controversy over all the power centers and the data centers that they're trying to build out near the zoo? Have you thought about that at all?
Oh, I've done a bunch of interviews on it. Yeah. I'm not against data centers. I don't like a data center next to the zoo. They've got this this cloudy. What was it, Joan? The
clouded.
Clouded leopard?
Clouded leopard. They've got so they've been spending
Only heard it 37 times on this day.
Clouded leopard. They've got these clouded leopards, Brian, out at the zoo, and they've spent a lot of money breeding the clouded leopards, and so the clouded leopards are very sensitive to light and sound. So the worry from the zoo is we've spent all of this money and all of this time breeding the clouded leopard, and now they're just going to be all schizo because of the data center next to the zoo. They're also spending $65 million on a new, the animals in the land of Indonesia, $65 million. Every one of those animals that's going to be in this new exhibit is really sensitive to light and sound.
I would say that the real problem there is your clouded leopard. You need to get a partly cloudy leopard, or at least a clear and sunny leopard.
Sure.
And that way you could probably have a better outcome. Thank you. At least I got some referencing. It was a partly cloudy leopard, not a clouded leopard.
Hey, Joan, whose jokes were worse, Brian's or Sam's? And by the way, did you lead me?
Grok's.
Brian, did you lead me into this conversation only to have the bad joke?
No, I did not know about the clouded leopards until you mentioned it. Sorry,
the clouded leopard. We've all been
partly
very
cloudy leopards.
concerned about the cloudy leopards, partly or otherwise. So
I'm done now.
So
I'll be ready when you get done.
So your show's going to be better than this, Brian?
I'll strive to make it as a tenth as good as yours.
There is nowhere to go up. No, there's nowhere to go but up from here. Joan, for the love of all that is holy, what is coming up at 9?
Yeah, something that just happened with the Trump administration going after super sponsors. I'll explain. And it's in the search for 300,000 unaccompanied minors in the U.S. This is an amazing story. It's coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here. You know how many ways we can lose power, right? You've got ice and storms and snow and tornadoes, but there's one surefire way to get that power back on. That is a backup generator from the Generator Supercenter. Now, the Generator Supercenter is the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. They feature turnkey installation, certified electricians and plumbers, maintenance and service after the install, and a whole lot more. Now, let me tell you how it works. Basically, the power goes out in your neighborhood. The power in your home turns right back on thanks to your backup generator. So if you're one of the many families talking about a backup generator, talk to the pros at the Generator Supercenter. Another reason to love the Generator Supercenter, their generators are made right here in the USA. They'll never leave you in the dark, and financing is available. They are waiting for your call. 615-879-1952. 615-879-1952. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. And Sam, real quickly, the interview that I did with Monty Fritts, it is podcast where?
Everywhere you can get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, it's up there. It's on YouTube if you want to go back through and scroll through it. But if you're going audio only, it's 46 minutes of excellent questioning and excellent answers.
All right. Got a lot more straight ahead with Brian Wilson next on WTN.